All right, let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safe Liquid Beer for the podcast.
Be right again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
Check-in, come on, let's go. It's the AM Nasty Big Hello.
It's not static, AM radio.
It's the Cool Ben Red Hot Nielson Show. Let's go. Everybody tuning in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
And those Macromala intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack at 6 o'clock and lager with some sirloin bites. Nom, 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 nom.
Great Monday morning to you. Welcome back to the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, streaming on the iHeart TuneIn radio apps and as well live on YouTube. Lieutenant Eric here with you. YouTube Trev as well on the screen, and no Dustin Nielson. If we could get a maybe just a shot of that chair too. Can we just in memoriam here, Dustin Nielson?
I need a second there. 1 second.
Yeah, take your time, Trev. We're going to be doing it's going to be a funny show today, a very interactive show for you, the listener and viewer today, as you'll be a big part of it. We need you to be a big part of it today, as the big guy is off. He is under the weather today. We got the call, we got the text early this morning, actually, as it was. I can only imagine him laying in bed, sweating, aching, and thinking about the EST draft of scary things later to come today. But Dustin Nielson, not able to make it today, so you know it's bad. There's that chair. It's just, we'll have to maybe do a full segment of just the chair there and us talking over top of it.
So good.
In memoriam. Yeah, he's just sick. It's a sounds like a flu of some sort, but of course he was away gallivanting, covering the CFL over the weekend, so a lot of travel, and 'tis the season, right? I've been getting over something. I do believe, though, Zach Ice Cube was patient zero at this place.
That's exactly what it was.
It's exactly what it was. Well, thank you very much, Trev. It's YouTube Trev in this morning as well. He, and that was weeks ago, probably close to a month ago, that he kind of hopped on in here and innocently enough coughed all over the place, and
then next thing you know, we went through it. I went through it. You went through it.
Still kind of going through it, to be honest. But
the cough is lingering for me as well.
Yeah. So thanks, Zach. And you can credit this show to one Ice Cube, Zactigum, if you will. But lots to get to today. As YouTube Trev mentioned, nothing short to talk about prior to the show, as we have lots to get to. But Dustin Nielson out sick today, and it's the Lieutenant Eric YouTube Trev program for you, at least for this Monday. I'm thinking probably a little more as the week trucks on. But once again, lots to get to. You can have your say in the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. I won't be hovering over that as I normally am as well. But get your texts in there. Come hard after that A&W text of the day. $20 to A&W right now. They got the 2 Mama Burgers on for only $9.99. If you took advantage yesterday being a game day, you got that $5 Mama Burger Fry combo. That'll return actually tonight, as it is a game day as well. Oilers and Columbus Blue Jackets as the road trip continues. We are brought to you by Southport Chevrolet as well. Daniel celebrating a birthday over the weekend. The entire dealership saying happy birthday to him. Hopefully he had a little better luck in his fantasy this week as he entered Week 8 at 0-7. But Southport Chevrolet, check them out online, southportchev.com. Employee pricing for the rest of this month, which is only a couple of more days. You can save up to $15,000 on select models. You also tell them EST sent you, and you get an additional $1,000 credit on your trade-in vehicle. They won't be beaten on any price. Find the best deal you think you can, and then take it out to the fort, and they'll beat it. Southport Chevrolet. Drive a little, save a lot. Oilers, of course, with a big win yesterday on the road. A big win Friday at home to the Penguins. We'll get into more of that. It'd probably dominate the proceedings of the show today, but of course, NFL Week 8 wrapping up the Sunday slate, at least. It'll wrap up later tonight when the Giants visit the Steelers. And you can always join me for that one. I'll be at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Loaded burger on special as well. Tall boys of 6 o'clock or lager, courtesy Alley Cat. So we got the Oilers, we got the NFL, and how about that World Series as well? Nothing short of storylines there. The LA Dodgers taking a 2-0 series lead. We'll also have that for you on the TVs tonight down at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge as the Yankees welcome in the Dodgers for Game 3. The first of 3 from New York as the Dodgers currently sport a 2-0 series lead. Shohei Ohtani will be in tonight. Of course, I was out at a bar eating some late supper watching that live, and even the gasps around the bar were something to behold with Shohei Ohtani jamming that shoulder and having to exit play. But he's apparently back. What percentage of health remains to be seen, but Yankees-Dodgers, it's already a great series at 2 games through. Probably a little more magic to come tonight in New York. But YouTube Trev, let's bring you in here too, man. You're in the midst of, it's busy season for a lot of people. You're in the midst of a move. You won Scalding Hot Takes Thursday. You got the mitt. I said you got the mitt to help you move. Where are we at on that whole aspect of it? What's an update now? You got the big furniture out, the little things packed, your storage cleaned out?
Yeah. How's it going, Nasties? This is awesome. This is my final week living with the roommates, if you're new to the show.
This is it?
I've been talking about it for quite some time.
So last Monday. This is the last Monday.
This is the last
Every
Monday.
day now
Yeah,
will be
this is the last. Tomorrow will be the last Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to it. It's been awesome, but yeah, I spent a good chunk of my time over the weekend. I wasn't able to catch anything really aside from the Oilers games, but yeah, it's nice, man. Like everything's going in the garage, and my pops, my dad, the old man will be making his way up here with the trailer to help me move.
You've got bodies, hey? You've got able-bodied people to
yeah, it should be good. So yeah, all packed up, man, and it's kind of it's bittersweet, shall I say.
Moving sucks. Well, moving it's fun. You got a new place. You're excited for that, obviously. But you do kind of, everything else does take a back seat. Oh, yeah. Your life is in turmoil. Everything's in flux. You don't know maybe where you're sleeping the next night. You're ordering bad food. It's that type of, like, you're kind of all over the joint. So, yeah, I think next week actually will be my last few days off of the year because Maddie's been making sure we're getting those things on, or things off. So I don't think I'll be here next week, which will be nice. So I start off my first, I think I'm here Monday, and then Tuesday to Friday I'll be gone. All right. If it gets approved. And so, but I mean, what better way to start, man? Like just unpacking, getting ready. Settle in. My favorite, my favorite week, was vacation during the summer, and I went back home, and my bro, he was like, yeah, I'm heading down to the States with the wife for the whole week, and so you have the whole house for the whole week, and I'm just like, oh, it was awesome, man. It was really awesome. So I love like me time. I love just being able to do me, right? And so I'm very much looking. You do you. Yeah, you'll be doing you all week. Oh, it's gonna be awesome, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to have updates on this and living vicariously through the move. This is going to be awesome. I'll have you over, all the, the boys over? You would think not only a housewarming party for you that you would hold, but also probably a going away party that your roommate should hold for you. Yeah. No? I would say. Yeah. A bon voyage of sorts. That's what I was thinking, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's also my birthday party. I'm having a little party this weekend. And, yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what's going on there. I'll be gone, man. Yeah. I told you. I told you. Yeah. I gotta pass. But I think their parents are coming up, so we'll see if I don't know if I'm getting a send-off party, but whatever. Well, I think they should. You've been a good roommate. You've been very understanding, I think, throughout the stories that we've heard. I've not complained once, and I'm a very good roommate. I'd like to think so. So yeah, thanks for that, LT. It should be fun, and we're going to be following it with a magnifying glass. And again, with the Scalding Hot Take Smith to assist you, how could it go wrong?
Let's go, baby.
We are coming to you live as well from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio this morning. You can see the TV, which takes a lot more. I mean, now with Dustin away today, the TV is almost that second shot in the big frame now. So we'll have the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio screen keeping us warm here. You can try the boneless or bone-in wings right now in a variety of flavors, the signature hot, honey garlic, honey barbecue, and garlic parmesan, as well as the classic flavor. Check out Popeyes today. 780-218-9999. Texts are flying in. Maybe text of the day is, and Bob Blah and Lloyd says, Dusty calling in sick to play video games. He's learning from Marshall. I kind of let the cat out of the bag and said he's under the weather, but maybe the real reasons that Dusty, he says he's sick, right? But the real reasons Dusty's away today, play that game at 780-218-9999, and it could get you the $20 to A&W. Probably a fun way to get text of the day this morning on a Monday. Stupidasso says, sounds to me like Dusty is yellow and scared to do the draft. That's right. Right here, the EST draft of scary things. Did a lot of prep yesterday with my wife. She was helping me and kind of get the brain juices flowing as you were. Kind of sketchy on the sports situation. I did have a question in our group text with the Commissioner Quinn Phillips, who will also be in today, 9 to 11, the draft of scary things. But is it a sports situation like, being in net as McDavid races down the ice in a breakaway, or is it like a Clint Malarchuk accident from days gone by, something that has happened, or a scenario that you could find yourself in? So I didn't really come away with any answers on that question, so I've got a few jotted down here. But I think the drafts come together pretty well in terms of my list. We'll be going about 15 deep. I do believe life fears, you need 4 of them, 2 characters, 2 movies, 3 sports situations, an object, a sound or song, a social situation, to which I've been talking to you about one this morning, Trev. Yeah. Bad day to make chili the night before a draft. To tell you what, it's a strategy in a sense. They'll be snuffing them all out of the room. And one way to die as well, a scary way to die. So 15 deep should be an interesting draft. Again, this thing kind of came together quicker than I expected, but with Dusty away today, and he was scheduled to pick, what was his pick again? No, Jay took 3rd. He took the
second, though?
Second, yeah. So that means, YouTube Trev, that you will now be picking second in the EST draft of scary things.
Snap.
YouTube Trev is the surrogate. We got a long text from Dusty explaining everything earlier today. He said he hates to do this. He's not mad missing the show, not the Nielson Show. It's killing him that he's got to be up sick in bed missing an EST draft. But YouTube Trev is in. He's the surrogate. He's the proxy. You'll have the earpiece in your ear. You'll be getting instructions throughout the draft.
Dusty. What do you think here? What do you think here, boss?
Listen,
this is still open.
It's one thing to get thrown into a show and kind of do different things, but now a draft. You've never done a draft before, my man. How are you? What's the temperature like right now? You could draft yourself.
Yeah. I'm
draft.
scared. I'm scared right now. Yeah. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do. I think Dusty was scared maybe losing to Tommy 3 times in a row. Is that a thing?
Yeah, going on the stupid asso theory here, yeah.
No, but it was funny. Yeah, I walk in here. LT's like, "Oh, busy show, man," and I'm like, "Ah, nice. Yeah, it's always
you just kind of waltzed in here." Like,
yeah, I was like, "Give this a steady pace," and he's like, "No, like, you didn't get the text," and I'm like, "Oh, no, I didn't." And so I was scared setting up the show this morning. I was like frightened because it's a lot to I have to do. A lot of show prep, and then obviously with the draft that I know Glue Guy, it was like last Wednesday. He's like, "What do you think for this take?" And I'm like, people have been scouting out their options for the past week.
Sure, I know, yeah.
Right? So, Dusty, thankfully, he did send me his list. I haven't been able to go through it, but during the show, I'm definitely going to have to, maybe just, I'm gotta keep thinking, right? Because that's Dusty. What Dusty might think scary, but I'm completely different. Dusty, I don't know. He's a big guy, but I feel like he's scared of bugs, right? They're not really.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, a bug, a ladybug.
You're learning quick
terrifying,
here.
Right?
Yeah.
Or a vegetable. That's terrifying. So I'm gonna have to tweak. I'm assuming I'm gonna have to tweak up his roster, and we'll see what I can do. But I'm excited, man. It'll be fun. Out of all the drafts that I've been here for, I think this is the one that I've been most pumped about.
Well, you don't need to have any prior in-depth knowledge. If this was like a Saturday Night Live, for example,
exactly.
and you don't watch it, you wouldn't know. But this is just off the top of your head.
Like my whole life, there's
you're a frightened guy.
2012. That's where we were just talking about that. I might put that as my number 1 pick. I don't know.
So somebody's saying go rogue,
let's go.
And again, Dusty has left you with with a bit of a roadmap if you so choose.
Correct.
But again, I would say maybe you just say screw it. He's left me with some notes as well, to which I was telling you, half of it's expired.
Yeah.
I think we can throw him under the bus here, Lou, in the opening
Yeah,
hour.
I think
Since
so.
he just texted us about a couple hours ago saying, hey, boys, you'll have to do everything today. But it's going to be interesting, and it really does throw a wrinkle into this draft today. The EST draft of scary things, 9 to 11 right here on Edmonton Sports Talk today. We will be talking Oilers, rest assured. Their win over the Red Wings in overtime. Leon Draisaitl, the big birthday boy, didn't really like those cupcakes Gene gave him post-game. Hey, he just kind of took
Not a big
those,
fan of that,
handed
hey?
them off, and got the hell out
He's
of
like,
there.
yeah, it was whatever. It was good enough. It's kind of savage.
It was pretty without taking the cupcakes and smashing them in Gene's face. That was pretty close. Oilers in Columbus tonight as well to round out the road trip. They're back to host Nashville on Thursday, but we'll get into more of that. The weekend it was for the Oilers, of course, a big 4-0 win at home to the Penguins as well on Friday, which kind of opened a few floodgates, if you will. People are saying Eric Ten Hag is fired. Manchester United just fired Eric Ten Hag. A bad weekend for one Matthew Iwanek. Ravens losing. Yankees down 2 Cobb in the World Series. And now his boy Eric Ten Hag leaving Manchester United after yet another loss by his soccer club, if you aren't familiar. But bad times. The furniture is flying at the 25th floor palatial apartment of one Matthew Iwanek. Of course, he'll be in as well for the EST draft of scary things. He is our Brian Williams, I guess, of the whole production now, doing the pre-interviews, the between two ferns, if you will, and he'll be in. I am, though, for full reinstatement of him as commish, although I don't have anything against current commissioner extraordinaire Quinn Phillips, who will be in. So it'll be myself drafting first, YouTube Trev drafting second, Jason Milne taking the 3 spot, and Tommy Gazzola looking to make it a 4-peat. He is in your 4-5 swing this morning. Once again, 9 to 11, the EST draft of scary things. They're in Nashville this week. Is that a road game? They're back in Nashville? I thought they were at home to Nashville. Is that a...
I don't know. Let me check here.
Pardon me if I misread that one. I do have a few other things on my mind this morning, but we will get to that. Yes, in Nashville, in Music City. So 2 visits to Nashville early on in the season, because they did visit them early on, did they not? Or what am I thinking of here?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they did.
Right? No?
Or
Yes.
was that-
4-2. Yeah.
Then
Taking
that was
crazy
in
pills,
Nashville,
yes. Predators, and then they wrap
Oh.
things up with the Flames Sunday in Calgary. They'll be home Monday,
do one?
November 4 against the New Jersey Devils. My mistake. Chalk one up for me already in things we learned today. The Oilers will be visiting Nashville on Thursday. But tonight they're in Columbus. We'll set that one up. We'll also break down last night's 3-2 overtime win. Leon Draisaitl, the birthday boy, the hero. We'll get to your morning after show here shortly. Morning announcements for 100.3 The Bear. Edmonton's best rock. Had a good conversation this morning with Scotty McCord. I think he's the only employee left at the radio station, as they've all descended on Sandals, Jamaica for a little bit of a getaway. But McCord talking about a little NFL, and Jaden Daniels kind of taking the spotlight, I think, in your NFL Sunday. We all saw the Hail Mary bomb. He danced around. He moved. I think that second move, when you know that he buys a little bit more time, he can really set up to cock that ball down the field. You kind of had a feeling, and with the magic that he's been possessing, it was never in doubt, was it, with Jaden Daniels? So the Commanders picking up another win over the Bears. Bills, I'm going to say it selfishly, big win out in Seattle. Always sucks when you have to go cross country for those early games. They showed up. They pumped the Seahawks. And sticking in the division, Tua Tagovailoa coming back as well. Dolphins coming up just a little short. But I think the Jets as well, losing to the Patriots, which should now see them last in the division at 2-6. They fired their coach. They've traded for a receiver. What else can they do? We'll have the full breakdown of Week 8 in the NFL coming up, as always, on Monday morning with Mike Tanier. He'll be by at around 7:40-ish this morning. We also have Craig Button from TSN. He'll be our Hockey Insider analyst today at 7:05. And Ryan Rishaug of TSN will round out the guest menu. He'll join us for his regular Monday hit. He's from the Got Your Back pod. That'll be up at around 8:30, 8:35 this morning. So some guests and some time for you to have your say as well, given the sports action on the weekend and everything fun going around here. It is draft day, and it's a weird day for a draft on a Monday. Usually we have them on a Friday. The beers are flowing from Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week, but we'll be drafting today. We'll be drafting Monday, EST draft of scary things. Let's get into the morning after show right now, albeit a brief one here, as we'll recap the Oilers-Red Wings game last night, ending in a 3-2 Oilers overtime win. Leon Draisaitl providing the winning goal, and I'll invite YouTube Trev in on this morning after show as well. He can take a bit of a bite, a bit of a slurp, if he so chooses, for a few things. And as well, Nasty Chat is pumping, is humming. Apologies, can't get to all the messages right now, but Trev, if you're seeing something as well with regards to last night's game, don't be shy. Bring it to the attention of us and in the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Can we get to a conch, though, first? Tube socks, and rightly so. How's about a conch for Menopause Nick's fresh baby? I think that's 2 now, kids, for the Menopause Nick household. Congratulations, Big Nick.
Congratulations.
Love it. Nice to see Menopause Nick. Hope you got that postpartum donaire in you as well. And hopefully the bouncing baby is doing well and very healthy, and another young nasty mind to mold and in the mix. I have a question, and not to relish old wounds, but why has Woody not been rehired? See, I dip my toe into the Paris Jewelers inbox and a text about Jay Woodcroft not being hired. No easy answers, like he doesn't want to be, but something really flawed there. I don't know, man. We're not going to be talking about Jay Woodcroft today. I'm sad that I brought that. Looney Land.
Lots to talk about, lots on the agenda.
We will not be going there.
Jay Woodcroft is not one of them.
He doesn't make the Mount Rushmore topics this morning. No. Tyler Hupka, nice to see you, Tyler. Dusty is away because he had the 49ers -6.5 and can't get over a T-Hup. A good, scenario as to why Dusty's not here today. But the morning after show, let's get into it right now. Once again, Oilers 3-2 in overtime over the Red Wings. Coming off of that big win Friday night, Trev, at home. Did you get to that one? No, you were doing the pre and post.
I was doing pre and
GCL
post.
Diesel pre and post. How was that for you?
Hernan Salas. It was, honestly, it was good. It was really good. Yeah, a little bit. I started off the show with a little bit of like jitters and a little bit of PTSD because the last time I was producing the pre and post game show was
keeping track of your record.
Game 7.
Oh boy,
Stanley Cup final. And so it was tough. I'm not gonna lie. I had some Simon and Garfunkel playing "Hello Darkness" when I was walking in here. But show
you came out of it big time.
Yeah.
I mean, now that's all flushed.
Oh, it was good.
4-0?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome.
Shots?
The Nasties, they were, being nice as always and had a good show. And Hernan, it was fun, man. Like, I've been tuning in, listening to the pre and post, obviously, this whole season. But to be producing a show with Hernan, it was pretty cool, man. Kind of just like Tommy as well. I listened to Hernan way before, so it was really cool. And yeah, I thought for the most part we had a pretty fun show, and the Nasties liked it, so it was good. And then post-game was just as awesome because the Oilers won 4-0.
And a real cruiser.
Yeah.
I mean, not really in doubt. The shot volume without a goal, maybe you get people are getting a little tense and sphincters tighten, but I mean, it was just about to break. And, Arvidsson getting off a bit of a schneid as well and just doing what they did against Crosby and crew was... I don't know if you're looking at that game as a turning point or something you can kind of, latch your hat on, but kind of not an official dam breaking, but pretty close to what we've seen from this team thus far this season.
For sure. Like, I think people were going into the season expecting to see that Oilers day one.
Yeah.
And, I think that's a testament of what this team can be on most nights. Obviously, there's just the slow starts. They're just in their head, whatever. But here's hoping that they start, getting it and finding their game, and it looks like they are, and that was pretty evident that night. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, going into the second period, the shots were like 20. I know shots are one thing, but it was like 22-5. Like, it was dominant, and we were talking about it. Was this, this just the Penguins being bad, or was it the Oilers, just being really good? And I think it was a little bit of both, but I think the Oilers just really brought it to them that night because. Defensively, the Penguins, so many grade A chances, so many like 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, just odd man rushes the Oilers had. It really should have been like an 8-0 game. Mm-hmm. It could have been.
Yeah.
Like Zach Hyman, has yet to get off the schneid. But he is well, man. He had like 3 or 4 good looks. He just can't capitalize right now. So Victor Arvidsson, you had mentioned 3 apples for him. Him and Leon are not only the chemistry was there, but they're finally getting on the score sheet.
Settling in, yeah.
Which is nice. We like to see that. And Podkolzin, I don't know. I don't know if he's the right mix. He certainly looks okay sometimes, but then I don't know. You just expect a little bit more, especially when you see a guy like Jeff Skinner, because he's producing a lot more than Podkolzin. So maybe that's why they're like, they need to spark on that third line.
Spread it out.
But there's been a few times Podkolzin's really he's a heavy skater. He's got a heavy stride, and he just went to the net, and it looks promising. So that might work. I don't know. But like you said, a lot of guys finally getting, their chances and capitalizing on them. So you like to see it. It was a good win, good post game.
Kind of a combined morning after show is we will give a bit of a nod to the Friday game and the big win over Pittsburgh here at home. But let's go back to last night. The big moment that happened for me, I'll go to the Corey Perry fight, maybe lighting a bit of a spark. It was a rough first for the Oilers on the road, and Pickard allowing one goal on one shot. But I think as well, I can also share my big moment with his save on DeBrincat to prevent it going down 2-0 in the game. So Perry fight, I guess, maybe switching the tide. He got some good shots in there. Do you have any other big moment that you would look to last night to say that's how the tide turned in the game?
No, I think that's exactly what it was. As we've seen when Nurse got in a fight earlier in the season, Troy Stetcher as well.
Stetcher, yeah.
The boys, I don't know, and maybe it's just the veteran, presence of Corey Perry. Is like, I think this will really get the guys going, so I'm just going to do it, whatever. And it worked. It worked. So I'd agree with that. The boys seemed to rally behind him, and it was a fun fight. Not often do you see a player kind of get stuck.
He was getting
but Corey Perry was feeding him some uppercuts, man. So that was pretty funny to see. I agree with you. I think that was the big moment.
If you have another big moment, 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat as well. If that's the smelling salt they need, then so be it. I mean, get them out there, and certainly, as you mentioned, they don't just have one. There are a couple bodies that can drop them whenever need be. Super stat of the night last night, what do you got? I mean, it's pretty safe to say if you can go to Draisaitl, 29th birthday, number 29. He's got the overtime winner, 2 goals and an assist, 3-point night. I also a tip of the cap, 4 points for Ekholm and Bouchard combined for that top pair. So are you looking anywhere else, Trev? I know Pickard, out above the 900 in the save percentage department as well. I don't know if, the tests were all that mighty from a Red Wings team. I thought Talbot had a great game in net for Detroit, but anywhere else you're looking for a super stat from last night?
A super stat? I hate to be boring, man, but it's got to be Leon. Yeah, he scored. He came up clutch. Birthday boy. He was the first star of the game, and he was without a doubt he was easily the best player of the game, I think.
That big paddle in overtime, eh?
Yeah. I mean, and what a great pass that was. You never see Leon really show that emotion ever, besides playoffs. And so that was a big goal for him. And I think, Matthias Ekholm, he talked about it in postgame, in the postgame with Gene, when he was handed the 2 cupcakes he didn't necessarily like. But, he's just an unbelievable player. He's just extremely underrated. And his defensive game's one thing, man. But, that was a slap saucer pass that he made. That is, not a lot of players can do that, man. That is extremely impressive. So he got it done, and, it was a perfect goal. So Leon Draisaitl, best game, or best player of the game for sure.
Yeah, super stat. Your 4th star, as you mentioned, he's 1st star. Andrew Kopp from the Red Wings, number 2, and Evan Bouchard, the 3rd star. 4th star, I'll give it to Pickard, and namely, backup goalie, you're on the road, you let that first one in. I think he's got a real calmness to his game. And again, I mentioned saving the one on DeBrincat where, it had me. I was cooking some pumpkin seeds in the kitchen. Jack Michaels just shrieks and something's going on to prevent it 2-0. So I'll give it to Kelvin Pickard for 4th star. A tidy performance on the road. 2 goals for the Red Wings. So I'll give it to Pickard 4th star. Are you looking anywhere else for the 4th star, YouTube Trev?
For the 4th star.
Draisaitl, Kopp, and Bouchard are your 1, 2, and 3. I guess if you wanted to give it to Corey Perry for springboarding things and getting into that tilt. And as you mentioned, the uppercuts were just delightful to see. Hey?
Yeah, I'd give it to Perry. He had a few good looks, but he also choked on one play. But he got the boys started. I mean, who knows? You take that fight out of the equation, do they win? I don't know. You never know.
Tight game.
So yeah,
credit to the Red Wings. And you are a big Red Wings. You're bullish on them, correct? I
don't mind the Red Wings at all, man. They're a skilled team. I think this team, they were so close to making the playoffs last year. It came down to the final game and overtime, if I'm not mistaken. So a really skilled team. They added Vladimir Tarasenko, who can still get it done as well. They got Patty Kane, who, he's not Patty Kane of old, but he's still a really good player. DeBrincat's a stud. They were able to get JT Compher, who also got on the scoreboard last night. He's a very underrated player as well. So this team's young, they're fast, and you kind of saw that in the first and second period. They're young and fast, but then, you also see they lost the game eventually. So they got a little bit more to go, but I think they could make the playoffs this year.
Compher had a goal, Kopp had a goal, Kane had 2 assists, but other than that, I think the Oilers did a good job of keeping those big dogs for that Red Wings roster at bay a bit, if you will. Cam Talbot, pretty good night as well in net, I thought, for the former Oiler. We don't hate Talbot here, right? We wish him well. 38th star, I'll give it to Lucas Raymond. Zeros across. He had a 1 block, 1 hit, and 3 giveaways on the night. One of those big dogs I was kind of talking about on the Red Wings. Raymond, 16 minutes of ice time and a lot of goose eggs dotting his stat sheet. That is your morning after show. Oilers once again victorious, improving to 4-4-1 on the season. In overtime, 3-2 over the Red Wings. They're back on the ice tonight in Columbus against the Blue Jackets, which means we'll be back as well with another GCL Diesel pre- and post-game show. Tommy Gazzola live again from the Boston Pizza on Westgate. That is right across the street from West Edmonton Mall. You know it well. Entered in there with the Italian Center shop, Wayne's Sports Cards, and a few other select shops where Dusty gets his hair cut, of course. Mr. Barber in there as well. So go see Tommy tonight. 4 o'clock action gets underway on the GCL Diesel pre- and post-game show. Puck drop, 5 o'clock down in Columbus. 6:32, you are listening to The Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, streaming on the iHeart, TuneIn radio apps, and as well on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, bang that sub and give us a like as well. It's the LTEYTT show. We're going to slug you through this Monday the best way we know how. And more on that coming up. We'll have Good, Bad, and Ugly, and that's good for the Italian Center shop. Right now, YouTube Trev is going to get you all updated on everything in the world of sports with a sports update for Nisku Glass.
Leon Draisaitl celebrating his 29th birthday with 2 goals and an assist as the Oilers win on the road in overtime 3-2 against the Red Wings. Draisaitl also put in the overtime winner as the Oilers improved to 4-4-1 on the season. The club is in Columbus tonight to take on the Blue Jackets. Tom Gazzola has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game show live from Boston Pizza Westgate. Coverage starts at 4 o'clock. The Oilers and Columbus are one of 8 games around the NHL tonight. In the NFL, Brock Purdy tossed a touchdown and ran in another as the 49ers beat the Cowboys 30-24 on the Sunday Nighter. Week 8 wraps up tonight when the Giants visit the Steelers. You can join Lieutenant Eric for this one at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Loaded burgers on special and tall boys of 6 o'clock or lager, courtesy of Valley Cap Bruin. Switching to the majors, Shohei Ohtani has been cleared to play as Game 3 of the World Series continues tonight from New York between the Yankees and Dodgers, LA holding a 2-0 series lead. Ohtani suffered a shoulder injury late in the Dodgers win on Saturday night. First pitch for this one at 6:08 from Yankee Stadium. And 11 games in the association tonight, including Raptors at home to the Nuggets. You can watch that one today at 5:30. The Sports Update brought to you by Nisku Glass. If you're looking for replacement glass for your construction equipment or fleet vehicles, or home or business owner looking to upgrade your space with high-efficiency windows and modern glass designs, Nisku Glass is here to help. From your home or business to your vehicle, they won't just meet your glass needs, they'll shatter them. Check out their Instagram or call them at 780-955-7989 and see what Nisku Glass can do for you.
No, that's a new one. Right in there. Can you turn me down just a notch? Real good. Real good. Oh, yeah.
What say you? Hey, nasty crew. We got the Nielson Show flu. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. What say you? Hey, nasty crew. My wife thinks I got better things to do, but there's nothing I can do about it. We're tuning in, we're listening online. We catch up with the podcast when we fall behind. We're texting in the nasty chat, what's on our mind. 780-218-9999. No more interference from corporate interest. To Tussy and Eric and all of the back end. Like Brzezinski and Noodles, Captain can gauge it. Maybe it's but a cool bed to make a little wager. We can't wait for the Monday Mandate. Shaggy's always on time. Tommy's always late.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Forget about the old place. Hey, we were number 1 in the text race. We don't miss all the commercial breaks, but we sure miss Nickelback today. We wanna hear some hot takes and we wanna hear Renee. Why not hold the neck up when I wanna kiss away? Beat left to tie a fire and remember that name. We love every goal song, but what about the games? Macaroon, Rappaport, Drager and Tanier. It ain't Christmas season, but they sound like reindeer. But then my cousin and the tales of the North. All about to give a present, Dusty go forth. What say you, AM Nasty crew? We got the Nielson Show flu. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it.
6:37, you are tuned into the Nielson Show on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, streaming on the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps and on YouTube. The Nasty Chat is humming. We are looking for a high of 3 degrees this afternoon, a generous mix of sun and cloud, a little bit of frost this morning, -1 currently in the Edmonton region. Lieutenant Eric in, Dustin Nielsen off, sick today, but of course we are taking your real suggestions on why he's not here. Text them in 780-218-9999, and it could be your way to the text of the day, which is $20 to A&W. Big Maple says Dusty couldn't make it today because he's got Marshall breaking down film of his swim lessons from last week. Yeah, that's very likely. I mean, the Barracuda, I don't know when he was in the drink last, but we all saw and heard last week. I mean, the guy looks like an adult. We all know Marshall's a bigger kid, but in the pool, in the drink, he just looks like a regular Mark Tewksbury in there. The kid's going places, baby, and maybe that's... I would forgive Dusty if he's off to kind of, nurture Marshall's swimming career in the drinks. So Timber Woodsman says Dusty called in sick because he didn't want to play the Old Man Bouchard goal song. Coward. Yeah, that probably has something to do with it as well. Barry the Cheater, did HR Daddy call in for Dusty in a deep voice?
I am Dusty's dad, HR Daddy, the father.
That would be great. Actually, that's a real good text, Barry the Cheater. You might be right now in the lead for text of the day, but get him in 780-218-9999. And yes, we all know about the Eric Ten Hag. If you don't know, in the soccer world, there's a club called Manchester United. And they've been kind of stinking up the joint early this season. Their coach has either resigned or got fired this morning. And Matty Iwanek, a big supporter of this individual. So Ravens lost, Yankees down 2-0 in the World Series. And now this morning, the third action comes with Ten Hag leaving Manchester United. He'll be coming in here fuming this morning, I guarantee.
It's exact opposite of the Hustler. Everything's going right with Huss.
Man, and it continues to go right for him. I don't even want to get into the CFL picture from this weekend because that was just bad voodoo every which way. The Bombers, was it ever in doubt with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and especially Sergio Castillo? Never in doubt. Never in doubt. The Bombers finished first in the CFL West. Hustler's not even in the country to celebrate it. He's down south watching a little bit of hockey and watching his Chiefs as well improve, remaining undefeated with a win over the Raiders as Patrick Mahomes tosses yet another interception on the season. He is, you're right. Iwanek is almost the anti-Huss. Yep. Here at EST, combined to Hustler's WST luck.
Kind of a circle.
Oh, it's you can't write it, baby. That's good. We'll be getting to in a matter of minutes. Good, bad, and ugly from the weekend as well. Got a few places to go, including Matthew Iwanek, then probably be popping up as the bad. The rest of the show looks a little something like this. Craig Button of TSN 705. Coolbet Canada hotline of the day. We got the wheel, baby. I filled out the wheel. We got your anytime touchdown score for tonight. It is the Giants and Steelers to cap Week 8 in the NFL. Once again, you can join me, Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, for that one, but we'll be spinning the wheel, and our good friends at CoolBet will have your anytime touchdown score. The wheel is just, the wheel is smart, the wheel will be looked to for tonight. We'll have your keyword as well. I think the sheet is yonder, but I will, do you have it?
I got one.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, you can just kind of...
I'll say it.
Yeah,
I'll say it.
Go ahead, man. This is your segment here. The keyword for the EST flyway to LA. We'll be taking another lucky qualifier today. So be by your phone. We'll be giving you a keyword around 7:25ish today, and your chance to call in, get on the air, and be the latest qualifier. It will be the Warriors and Clippers. You'll also be going down for Rams and Cardinals, and the Orange and Blue taking on one of LA or Anaheim. A great little sports getaway in between your Christmas and New Year's holidays. So be by your phone for that at around 7:25. Of course, the EST Flyway to LA brought to you by the 780. Check them out today as well. 7word80.com. The Fan Zone for fans first at around 7:30. Fan Zone and Mike Tanier We'll go around the NFL with him as we do on a Monday morning and get his thoughts on the full Week 8 slate. Kind of easy trivia, 3 questions too many. That hurts for James H. Brown Injury Lawyers and Ryan Rishaug of TSN and the Got Your Back pod. We'll get his thoughts on the Elks season that was, winning on a rouge, the punt rouge, which I love. Boy, does that boil piss every 4 corners of this continent. But Elks ending the season on a win, but a disappointing season overall. Justin Rankin re-signed for a year as well over the weekend, and the Elks will be holding their year-end media veil later today. Lots of questions that need to be answered, but I think, as I've been professing, you've got your owner in place. The fans want to move on. Everybody wants to move on. You got to look for naming a president now, which is the next step. But it's a full forward step now. Everybody in it together, moving forward. The season's gone. Chris Jones is gone. All these little things that have been bugging people over the years are gone. So you look for this franchise to now fully move forward. And with the news over the weekend that CFL Commissioner Randy Ambrosie will be stepping aside sometime soon as well. So big changes on the horizon, both here in the market and in the CFL as a whole. We'll get Shoggy's thoughts on that. That's all ahead of the wrap for William Huff as we head into an EST draft of scary things, 9 to 11 on the Hangout today with myself, YouTube Trev, making his draft debut,
go,
Jason
baby.
Milne, Tom Gazzola, and presiding Her Excellency, the Commissioner, Quinn Phillips. 780-218-9999.
It was awesome on Friday night, Hernan, when we were doing post game, because we were just about done, and we actually brought in Reed Wilkins, and he was glued to the TV as well as sharing his thoughts on the game. But he's dialed in. Right, it was the last 2 minutes of the Elks game, and then it went into OT. So we wrap up the post game show, and then just seeing Hernan just getting all giddy. He was so happy. He's like, no way, but. Yeah, I don't know. So this is my first time, really watching the CFL this year, and I absolutely loved it. And I love the Rouge, man. I'm pro Rouge. I think that's
part
awesome.
of the fabric of
it's
the
so
game.
Sick. It's so cool.
CFL was
I
around
love it.
before the NFL. This is football. This is your rugby giving birth to a different game. If you don't want them to punt for the Rouge, your defense has to show up and win the field position battle. Simple as that. The only wrinkle I'd have to it is, and this is maybe the that's good for you, Trev. You've fallen in love with CFL ball and all the craziness and wackiness that goes with it.
Awesome.
But if you're going to do that, it's not Major League Baseball. You can't have different dimensioned end zones. The Argos Rough Riders game from earlier in the season, when you have an end zone that's 5 yards long, you can't have that when every other end zone is about 20 yards deep. So get the end zones on a constant dimension, and then I'm all for it. No, the Rouge is great. And I love... that's good that everybody gets so snippy at it. Everybody, what is this? This isn't real football. Blah, 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 blah. You want to see idiocy? Look at NFL and how they do their kickoffs. I watch it at least 2 times a week, Monday and Thursday, Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. It's crap. The kickoffs are crap. Why even have kickoffs? If you want to complain about something, please save me with your Rouge complaints. It's an added wrinkle. It's rugby-esque. It is real football as it was constructed. So come out of here with those takes. Penner's Pancakes, what was the attendance at EE game on Friday night? I don't know why we're all taking glee at that as well. This is the city of champions. I know that doesn't derive from sports specifically, but why do people get excited here about only being able to support one team on any given night? I know the Elks have had a bad couple years. I know it's been a bad stretch, and I know that they've rubbed a lot of people the wrong way for a variety of reasons. But I don't think we can be sitting there and taking glee and saying, Sidney Crosby's in town alongside Jesse Puljujarvi and Evgeny Malkin, and they're playing Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers down at Ice District, and nobody's supporting the football team. Great stuff. I wouldn't say so, and I wouldn't be so quick to celebrate it. Yes, it's damning, and yes, it's a bad look. But I don't know why we here in Edmonton, and if you call yourself an Edmontonian and a sports fan of this fair city, why you need to take glee in something like that and continue to bring it up. I know that they're crap. They've had a crap season. The organization is a bit of in a flux right now. They've missed the playoffs, but they also had a streak of how many years of making the playoffs, which was tossed in my face all the time. You got it. It's easy to support teams when they win. And we were around too when the Oilers, there was paper bags at Oilers games. There was fire them all. There was here come the Oilers. All those hashtags we remember oh so dearly. It sucks when teams lose, and it's tough to support them. I get it. But let's not sit here high on our throne and take glee that, yes, 2 teams were playing one night in this city of a lot of people. And you're coming at me and saying, hey, look at the other team. They couldn't get anybody in the stands. Not something to celebrate. Bad form, bad shape. I'm not going to spank you this morning. Don't want to get into any rants. I just think if you're an Edmontonian and you like sports in this city, don't crap all over the other team because another team's playing and going for a cup and in their window and have a lot of other stars from the opposing team in town on a Friday night. We don't need to go there. I get it. We know the Elks suck. We know the Oilers are good. Hasn't always been like that, though, either. But it is nice to see both teams get a win on the same night for the first time since 2018, I think Hernan said.
Yeah,
so
2018, 2019.
Look, that's been solved. That voodoo doll's been pricked. Let's carry on, and maybe the Elks now can kind of live up to that standard as well, just like the old days, and they can both be tops. They can both be making the playoffs every single year, and then you can go and support them without crapping. I'm going to say a worse word here, but it just grinds my gears when you have to take glee at another organization in the city suffering because another one is doing so well right now that it sucks all the oxygen out. Right? You can support a lot of things. There's university sport going on. I know a lot. We don't have AAA baseball here anymore either. We don't, and it probably won't come back. But why can't you go support the Riverhawks? Right?
Amen.
It's Edmonton sports. Edmonton sports. Your city, your sports teams. Support them and don't crap on them, please.
Wow. No, Dustin
It
Nielson,
pisses
no
me
problem.
off. It
Let's
just
go.
pisses
Wow.
me off. You know, like
he's bringing it. Leave a like, Nasties. Let's
enough
go.
of this crap. I just. Chris says, "Bang on LT" as the song goes. Don't know what you got till it's gone, and that's FC Edmonton is one of those things. I know nobody likes soccer, and soccer is a boring niche sport that only fancy boys in Europe play. But it was some good times down at Clark with FCE. It really was. It was affordable. It was entertaining. And the fan base was great. But it's gone. And who knows when and if that comes back and in what iteration. So, again, I know it's expensive. I know life is hard right now for a lot of people. And you can't go out and take your family of 10 to every single sporting event and buy all the food and all the merchandise. I get that. But do we have to come down on teams when they're not doing so good? This is the time we need to pick them up a bit. Just say.
Norman and Combine in the Paris Jewelers inbox. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. I've always wanted to say that, LT. That's the first time I've ever said that.
More.
Yeah.
More.
But can we get a conch for Maddie and Glue Guy and their Friday night post-game show, SD winning? Absolutely. Did you...
I saw a few shows. They were on YouTube. We had two shows going. You
Correct.
were on the GCL Diesel pre and post. They were on the YouTube Green and Gold kickoff and post. But I saw one still texted or tweeted at me of some woman embracing Jay.
I'm going to bring that on right now. Can I?
Please do.
Yeah, this was good.
This
for the
could be
Nasties
your
that didn't
that's
see
good.
it.
Yeah. Again, the Central Casino Sports Bar Lounge. It is a wild time down there. You never know what's going to happen. Norman at Combine also said Maddie lost on the ponies, so the losing just keeps coming for old Maddie. I want to go over
So
the weekend.
funny.
Love to hear that. But Jay Milne was getting a little. It was getting a little tight down there, a little emotional. Of course, that was their last go around for the final Elks game of the season, as they were there all season
flew
long,
by, holy.
pre and post. Yeah, well, it's one game a week, and it's I did. It sucks they're down there and they can't kind of come down and share in the majesty that was the tailgate. If you were tailgating over the weekend down at Commonwealth, please let me know how that went. And I didn't get a chance to make it down, but love all the people down at the tailgate, Turf District, Elks Herd, to name just a few. I know Jerry Haraxi was down there. He had a bottle of Jägermeister with my name on it. Sorry, Jerry, put it on ice, and we'll get to it maybe in the Grey Cup or sometime next season. But there it is. Bring the
Look at this. Look at this, Nasties. Look at this. Get a load
picture
of
of the year if we're awarding one at the Estes.
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
don't. Is that a thing? We don't have picture of the year.
Okay, let's just go down the line here. She's obviously thrilled at something. A big
She
win or something.
seems to be very happy.
Jay's
It would appear.
slightly confused, maybe a little turned on. I kind of.
Yeah, that face. He's like, why do I like this so much?
We've seen that Jay face before. You might see it in the draft today. And Maddie's just he's
Like,
living.
Where's my hug?
Yeah. I'm losing at the ponies. Somebody's got to give me a hug.
Oh, that's good.
Tube Sock says people don't want affordable, Eric. They want to support the expensive product, all the while complaining how expensive it is. Yeah, I'm going to dismount here from that. I'm not looking for any award here on Iran. It really. Why can't you just support? Why do we have to come down on teams if they're not doing so good in this market? I just don't get it. And Troll says, I'm sure a lot of people wish they supported the NLL team more as well. Agree with the rant, and that's just it. I mean, again, you don't know if and when these things ever come back, especially in this day and age. So support what you have. And again, teams need your support. Players need your support when they're in ruts, when they're in slumps, when they're not. Anybody can support a winner. That's easy. Bandwagons abound. But damn it anyways, stop crapping on the guy that's not having a good day, not having a good season, whatever it is. They need your support. Show up and give the city a good rep while you're at it. 650. Let's get into that's good for the Italian Center shop. Didn't get a chance to pop in there this weekend, which I usually do to get a pizza or pasta or whatever. But that's good. Hand stretch house-made dough. This is the pizza topped with signature sauce and best ingredients from the deli. The Pizziolos have done the hard work, so you don't just need to throw them in the oven. You look like a hero in 10 minutes. It's great if you got a kid in hockey or any other sport, swimming, as Marshall is in. But good take and bake and healthy meals as well. None of that microwavable crap, but you can get the pizza, you can get the pasta, you can get the hot and spices. Great stuff on the go from our friends at the Italian Center shop. Good, bad, and ugly from the weekend, and you can play along as always, 780-218-9999, or in the nasty chat. Lots to get to as sports is picking up now. You got them all going on, all the big leagues. CFL coming to a close as well, regular season. But yeah, play along in the Paris Jewelers inbox or in the nasty chat. Good, bad, and ugly from the weekend, and YTT as well if you want to add something here for the good, the bad, and or the ugly. I'm going to have the good. And I was kind of going off this rant. The Elks winning on the punt rouge, delicious. Again, the boiling of the piss that this lends to so many people. It's one thing for the missed field goal. I understand a griping on missing a field goal, and then maybe winning at that point, you're saying, oh, you're rewarding failure in that sense. But again, when the game's on the line, it's the defense's job to not allow this. It's a different strategy, you see. It's the same type of sport, but it's a different league with different rules, which means different strategy. So in the CFL, if a team is marching and they get close enough just to get that ball in or through the end zone, it's on the job of the defense to prevent them from getting there. That's the thing. The clock moves as well. It stops. This isn't like the NFL. This isn't where you can take a knee or whatever. Different rules, different strategies. So I know it irks people sometimes when you miss a field goal and you say, oh, you're rewarding failure. In this sense, the Elks said, hey, we are such distance out from the end zone. Now, there was some arguments, hey, give the young field goal kicker a chance, show him what he got. Yeah, okay, I get that. He kicks a field goal, probably doesn't travel as far. If and he does miss, all Toronto needs to do is take it out of the end zone or punt it out of the end zone, which has led to some great finales in CFL history where you have two teams punting it back and forth, trying to get that point, which is great theater. I don't know why we're coming down on this as well. It's part of the wrinkle of the game, which makes it very, very exciting, a la the sport of rugby. But the Elks winning on the punt rouge is delicious. And I listened the one time Wally Bono tried to punt rouge at the old Taylor Field in Regina. The wind was swirling. He didn't trust, I think it was McCallum at the time, to get a field goal down, the snap, the hold, and everything else involved. So just give it to your punter and let him boot the laces out of that puppy. He tried, and it didn't make it. But the Elks winning on the punt rouge to me was the good, just because it gets that piss boiled for people. When you got people like Barstool Sports, what is this? Real football. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. And it's been around longer than your boring-ass iteration of it down south. So I'm loving it. The good is the Elks winning on the punt rouge to cap a wild season. Not only for the Elks, but a wild season in the CFL. And we saw more of that Sunday. But that was Friday night. Do you have a good from the weekend, YouTube Trev?
Yeah, I think my good will be the Oilers getting 2 wins, and then probably just doing pre and post with Hernan on Friday.
And you exercised some demons, as you mentioned in the process.
Yes,
Last
I did.
time you were here was Game 7. And
I had to, man.
You're off the schneid.
It was just terrifying walking through those doors. Maybe the fear draft today. It was terrifying, but no, it was good. That was my good for the weekend. Just hanging out with Zach stayed for the whole game. Which was fun.
An added bonus for you.
Yeah, and stepdad was in town, so I was able to watch the game with stepdad, Zach, and Hernan. Never thought that would happen, but it did. And it was fun. It was good.
Say this again.
This is Zacticum.
Yes.
Hernan Salas, my stepdad, and myself.
That's a foursome.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Donairs all around. Hey,
yeah,
I'd expect for that one.
Yeah, Zach was the only one eating. He had a Donair. He actually had a Donair sub.
He's always eating.
Yeah, he is
Still growing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
that
that was
boy.
my good, but it was just solid night and then solid 2 dubs for the Oilers. It was good.
Yeah, and as we said, the Friday game, you kind of had to feel this is what this team now winning on the road too
especially-
in overtime fashion. Like these are good wins.
And especially the first one there, like that was a good solid win. Like
Yeah.
that was by far like the first win or first game I should say of the season where I was able to just sit back and enjoy and relax and not just
Cruise
be like,
control,
oh my
yeah.
gosh, what's going on?
Yeah.
So yep, it was good. And then yesterday they were able to come back twice, which is not ideal, but they were able to do it twice, so that's nice. And then they got it done on Leon's 29th, so it was good. 2 good wins.
Bad from the weekend as well, and I'm not using Iwanek as the heavy bag this morning, and I'll light a candle for him, but it was a bad weekend, let's be honest. The Ravens losing to the Browns. Jameis Winston's season is here. A little more on that with Mike Tanier in our NFL Roundup. Yankees down 2-0. He's probably going to come in here and say, I'm not concerned.
That's
Not
fine.
concerned. He's got 3 at home now.
It's
He's got him right where they want him. That's what he'll say with the Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series. But also news this morning is Eric Ten Hag leaving Manchester United. It upsets me greatly because I didn't think he was that good at all, and long may his reign continue. But that obviously came to a stop this morning as he either resigned or was dismissed from the club. I haven't kind of dove into the details of that yet, but Man U losing on the weekend away to West Ham in London. They are now sitting, 14th in the table, just a breath off the relegation zone. So something had to change there. 3 straight draws in Europa League competition. It's going to be very sad. But if I could, Matt, if you are watching, and I know you are, Gareth Southgate for Man U manager. Let's make it happen. Let's start the campaign. And Norman Combine also adding to Iwanik's misery over the weekend, which he apparently lost big on the ponies Friday at Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge.
That puts a smile on my face.
I'll bring none of this up
Sure
later
does.
today during the EST draft of scary things. We should just say all this right now and let it hang in the air like a big stank and let him deal with it himself. You're bad from the weekend, Trev. If anything, maybe you just had a real good weekend. And
Yeah, man. I've been trying to
bad.
think for the last little bit. I do have some ugly,
oh, okay.
but as far as bad goes, nothing really bad.
Could we be on the same page as the ugly? And it was no. Okay, is it
No.
a statue?
No. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
We gotta do away with player
Yeah.
statues.
Who the hell is
There.
that
I
guy?
don't know.
Who
The
the hell are
Dwayne
you?
Wade. Let's get into the ugly. The Dwayne Wade statue unveiled by the Heat, and if you're still on Twitter, X, or whatever, or really anywhere on social media, you probably saw this puppy kicking around. I know Dusty had a bit of a good laugh with it. We've seen statues in the past. Cristiano Ronaldo had a real bad one done of him a few years back. It just seems like every time a player statue is done now, you're assuming the worst and expecting nothing. This Dwayne Wade statue, it's got
I'm gonna
unveiled
bring it
by
up.
the Heat. Yeah, please do. I don't know who you're kind of... There's shades of Antoine Walker, Morpheus from The Matrix. I mean, a lot of people having their comparisons. I'm seeing a Kelsey Grammer comparison. I don't know where that comes from. But it looks like he's riding an invisible motorcycle. I don't know. Is there some other way to honor your legends rather than leaving it up to an artist who maybe doesn't even know the athlete in question? They got and his reaction too. I'm seeing the video reaction of his
He's like,
just
"What
a
the
shaking
heck
of his head, looking down, a bit of a smirk on his face. He knows what's to come in the memes.
Oh,
I don't know, man. And Trev will be bringing this up on the screen. You can have your say. It's ugly. Look, I'm not saying I could do a better job. I'm not in the statue crafting game, nor should I be. But just to honor the legacy of a legend and then to have it just memed immediately. Maybe you think it's a good-looking statue. I don't know. Is there anybody out there that really likes it? Because the online,
there we go.
I don't think I'm seeing any sort of
Here,
positive reaction to it all.
I'll put it up right now.
It could find its way into the draft later, too.
You can
There
take a
we are.
look. That is
riding the invisible.
Yeah, that's
motorcycle.
terrifying. Like looking
It
at
is.
it.
It's scary.
What does he say? He's like, "Oh, where are we? Well, this is crazy." And at first you're just like, what is that? Like some people are thinking like, oh wow, like this is such a monumental moment. But then you start looking, you watch it another time, and he might have been like, what? Actually, no, seriously, what is that? Is that me? I don't know when statues became so hard to like. I don't know. I swear the record more often than none is just terrible. Like it's a terrible record.
If somebody comes to you and says, "We're building a statue of you, YouTube Trev, outside ESTHQ here,"
Very
your
happy.
immediate thought would be, "Oh damn,
Yeah.
I'm going to be done dirty because that's usually what, as you said, that's usually how it goes these days. I don't know if I'm missing something. Is that invisible motorcycle? Is that a magical moment specifically? I know the finals and everything and their successes, but all he's doing there is screaming. Somebody said it looks like he's one of those people doing a social media stunt where you put the old person mask on and you dress up like Jackass or whatever when they put the old person makeup on and everything.
Yeah.
It just looks like his face is melting a bit.
It's so bad.
It looks like a mask on top of a statue.
Gosh, it's bad.
It's ugly. It's not so much the statue's ugly. The whole theme of it's ugly, but it's scary.
Yeah. It is scary. Like, it's terrifying. I wouldn't be happy if I was D-Wade. I'd be ticked. Someone, I think Dusty had tweeted this one out. Someone photoshopped this photo, or this, photo of Dwayne Wade on the actual Dwayne Wade of the classic vintage, like one of the best NBA photos of all time when LeBron's throwing it down and Dwayne Wade. And it's just, go check out Dusty's Twitter. You'll be able to find it. But it was just so funny because it looks nothing like D-Wade. It's terrible. It's so ugly.
Where's this in the nasty chat? Mark Lanigan texts this in. Expression is from winning a football game off of a rouge winky face. Yeah, maybe that's what it is if you think so. But that's the ugly with a bullet. Obviously, lots of sports results we could get to for that part of the GBU.
Horrendous.
But whenever there's a statue unveiled, I tell you, it's like red meat to people that do what we do.
Yeah.
It's too easy. I mean, next time do it in the summer so we can devote a whole show to it.
Yeah.
During the dog
Like a
days,
whole-
and we can really sink our teeth into
Just
it.
go into the archives of all the statues.
Well, I want to
'Cause
look back now. Yeah, the
you bring
Ronaldo one that sticks out.
Yeah,
but
that's another one.
But there have
I don't
been
know.
others.
I don't know which one's worse
bad
between
sports
Ronaldo and
statues.
Dwayne
Yeah,
Wade.
like,
But yeah,
just stop it.
just
Again,
watching
if,
that video.
If somebody tells you they're unveiling a statue of you today, you're kind of like, no, please. Is there anything I can do to get out of this?
Yep.
I'm just looking. David Beckham has one that looks like an
Oh, his is bad.
obelisk. I don't know. It's Walter Johnson throwing. The Gretzky statue
Gretzky's is-
downtown. There's nothing wrong with that. He's
Yeah,
holding the
Gretzky's is
cup.
pretty good.
His face looks like him, right? Like there's nothing.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's kind of what you want there. I'm seeing an Arthur Ashe statue. Andy Murray's. Yeah, that kind of looks like him. There's a Harry Carey one.
I think there's a
That's
Dirk,
pretty
Dirk
on.
Nowitzki and Mike Modano down in Dallas.
Is there? I
think so.
I don't even know if I want to see that.
Yeah.
What a business, though, getting into the statue game. It's almost like somebody said it's almost like they have no idea who this person is or what they've done,
Correct.
and you're given a week to do it. Joel says he's auditioning for the movie Smile. I watched the movie Trap last night. Josh Hartnett, 90s heartthrob. Not a bad twist.
Interesting.
Here's the thing for guys, the people making the statue, they have to know that it looks bad, right? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's like interpretive dance. Maybe we're not looking at it properly. Maybe we're looking at it from a bad angle. Maybe you have to cross your eyes slightly and step back a few steps, and then you see the true
The longer
Dwayne
you
Wade.
look, the longer you look.
Yeah, that type of thing.
And maybe that's why they're doing it. So you just get
Well, they got us talking.
hundreds of people just staying there looking at it. The
how
longer
it is
you
these
look,
days.
the more realistic
Yeah,
it looks.
they've created a social media circus.
Yep.
Matt Hyman says Jets have a good one of Howard Chuck. Who are hiring these statue makers? Well, we'll maybe talk statues a bit with Craig Button. He'll be our hockey insider. He's on the way. It's 7:04. We'll get to a sports update here as well from YouTube Trev for Green Plan. But Craig Button on the way of TSN. We'll wrap up the Oilers weekend. It was set up tonight against Columbus and a lot more around the NHL. Cool Bet Canada will spin the wheel for an anytime touchdown score tonight. Giants and Steelers. We will have your keyword for the EST Flyway to LA. That's brought to you by the 780. The Fan Zone for Fans First and Mike Tenier on the NFL picture as well. That's all coming up in hour 2. Lieutenant Eric, no Dustin Nielson this morning. YouTube Trev alongside. This is the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Leon Draisaitl celebrating his 29th birthday with 2 goals and an assist as the Oilers win on the road in overtime 3-2 against the Red Wings. Draisaitl also potting the overtime winner as the Oilers improve to 4-4-1 on the season. The club is in Columbus tonight to take on the Blue Jackets. Tom Gazzola has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game show live from Boston Pizza Westgate. Coverage starts at 4 o'clock. The Oilers and Columbus are one of 8 games around the NHL tonight. In the NFL, Brock Purdy tossed a touchdown and ran in another as the 49ers beat down the Cowboys 30-24 on the Sunday nighter. Week 8 wraps up tonight when the Giants visit the Steelers. You can join Lieutenant Eric for this one at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Loaded burgers on special and tall boys of 6 o'clock or lager, courtesy of Alley Cat Brewing. Switching to the majors, Shohei Ohtani has been cleared to play Game 3 of the World Series as it continues tonight from New York between the Yankees and Dodgers. LA holding a 2-0 series lead. Ohtani suffered a shoulder injury late in the Dodgers win on Saturday night. First pitch for this one at 6:08 from Yankee Stadium. And 11 games in the association tonight, including the Raptors at home to the Nuggets. You can watch this one today at 5:30. The Sports Update brought to you by Greenplant, providing you with award-winning environmental and consulting services. Whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential, plan it right with Greenplant. Visit greenplant.com or give them a call at 780-455-4292.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
The 7:07, you are listening to The Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, streaming on the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps and on YouTube. Brother Morgs chimes in, watching the show delayed this morning. I was at the Elks game. It was great. Front row, saw Tommy, saw the Rouge, met YTT, YouTube Trev's lovely partner, Hope, and had a heck of a time. Appreciate LTE's rant. Well, thank you very much, Brother Morgs. And Penner's Pancakes, I wasn't coming at you personally there. It was just an overall thought on the mood of this city as we made our way through the weekend. Lieutenant Eric alongside YouTube Trev this morning. Dustin Nielsen taken ill as we got the text early this morning. Takes a lot to keep the big man down, tell you that much, but he was gallivanting around, wrapping up the final regular season, week of the regular season in the CFL. So I know he's been putting the miles on as of late, and given the time of year it is, those things do tend to happen. And as we kind of confessed earlier in the show, Zach was patient zero here, so any and all blame can be laid at the feet of one Ice Cube. We will continue on. Hour number 2 of the Nielsen Show clicking. If you have anything you'd like to say, 780-218-9999 is the number you can text, or in the nasty chat, that's humming as well. We got our next guest. He's been waiting patiently, and we appreciate his time this morning. Sliding in on a Monday morning, it is TSN's Craig Button. It is brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports and memorabilia apparel specialist. Let Pro-Am help you with your team fundraiser with no-risk auction and raffle items. Visit them in-store for all the details. Located in Edmonton at the corner of St. Albert Trail and 128th Ave, or online at proamsports.ca. Craig, welcome back to the program, man. How you doing on this Monday morning?
I'm doing really well. And it's amazing. You're talking about Dustin. We get on that hamster wheel, and then the season ends yesterday, and it's kind of almost like you found a way to keep your guard up, so to speak, and then all of a sudden the season ends, and boom, you get caught up. So hope Dustin's feeling better, and I think that one thing I will say, I think there's real brighter days ahead for the Elks. I think they showed enough this year to get to re-energize the fan base, shall we say.
Well, I mean, I think you hit it right on multiple points there. I do understand the psychological thing when you have something to do and you're kind of like, okay, I'll get to this sickness or whatever later on. Just let me get past this. And then when it ends, you do kind of let the waters kind of rush over you, and it just kind of envelops you. And I would agree with the Elks too, Craig. It's forward thinking now in this market. They've got the owner. Next up is the Prez, and everybody moving lockstep back to success again. But I think one team over the weekend we saw specifically in this market kind of find their footing again and moving forward in a proper direction were the Edmonton Oilers. A big win Friday night at home to the Penguins. And then last night as well, heading out onto the road, going behind a bit early on. Calvin Pickard, first shot, not ideal on the road against a fairly good up-and-coming Detroit team, but the birthday boy, Leon Draisaitl, proving his worth. I don't know if it's a champagne, turning 29, that's your number, getting the overtime winner. It's some sort of birthday. He didn't like the cupcakes from Gene post-game, but what did you think of the weekend in a hole for the Oilers, both the Friday win in Pittsburgh, which we've been talking, kind of felt like the floodgates opened a bit there and a few guys getting off the schneid, and then a battle-tested, hard-fought road win overtime last night in Detroit.
Yeah, and what I would say is you want to see your team trend in the right direction. And I think that, Eric, we watched the first 3 games of the season, and nobody told the Oilers that the preseason had ended, and they were still in preseason mode, in my view. Since that point in time, I think they've played very, very well. I mean, Connor McDavid talked about the 2 games they lost, the one against Dallas, the one against Carolina, where he said we played well enough to win, but we made some mistakes at the wrong time. And But they were still trending in the right direction, playing well enough to win. Now you got to find a way to win. And I think they did. Friday night versus Pittsburgh was a complete game. I mean, they dominated Pittsburgh. It's one thing to make another team look ordinary. They made Pittsburgh look like they were a minor league team. And I thought that was something that for the Edmonton Oilers and the group, this is what it can look like when we're on our game. They fell behind yesterday versus Detroit. The first period wasn't great for the Oilers, but they picked it up from there. And what I really liked about the Oilers is when they made it 1-1, and then right away Detroit made it 2-1 again. Edmonton just kept playing. They just kept playing. They just kept playing and playing and playing, ultimately tying up the game on the Bush bomb, and then that overtime winner was a thing of beauty. It was just, you talk about high-end players breaking down your opponent. That's exactly what happened. And when you see a team starting to really root into the strengths of their game, I think there's every reason to feel encouraged. And Calvin Pickard played well, and you're going to need that from your goaltender. Skinner with the shutout on Friday. All positive signs now here for the Edmonton Oilers. And, you think about the Oilers, you think about the Colorado Avalanche, it seems like their starts are a long ago story.
Well, and when we talk about starts too, I mean, I don't know if I'm breaking any news here for our listeners and viewers, but it's just as simple as your big dogs getting going. I mean, again, we know what Draisaitl did last night. Bouchard and Ekholm combining for a tidy 4 points. I know we talk about we'll really get into lineups and who's on the fourth and who's pairing with this and that. I mean, at the end of the day, this team is heavy front loaded, and if those guys aren't clicking, it's going to take a lot for the rest of the supporting cast to kind of carry the load. So, are we just kind of seeing, as you mentioned, I mean, this team kind of starting slow, but once these guys kind of wake up and find themselves and start playing more in a fun nature, when the smiles start appearing on the faces, it's go time. I mean, that's pretty much it now. The worry and cause for concern is in the rearview mirror.
It is in the rearview mirror. You add new players, and certainly the Edmonton Oilers are still going to be a work in progress. When I say a work in progress on the blue line, there's going to be 2 parts to that work in progress. The part by the management to try to explore options to strengthen the blue line, and then the players that are in there just getting comfortable playing, and the other players getting comfortable playing with them. So I think those two things go hand in hand. The management work in progress, and then just the playing work in progress. And last year, towards the end of this, in the playoffs, Darnell Nurse was hurt, and Darnell Nurse was not at his best. Darnell Nurse, I think Darnell Nurse has played very well for the Edmonton Oilers this season, and I think that in and of itself has become really, really an important part, and will continue to be an important part of their success, because he's been working with different partners too. Like and his game has stayed really steady and has been really good. The big players are the big players, and we know that they're capable, and we know that they can carry play. I think what happens, and I do think it happens. I know it happens. I don't think it happens. I know it happens, Eric. You go to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. You have done everything to try to get to the summit, and you're that close. And there's inevitably there's going to be a letdown, because you understand, and you talk about the psychological letdown. Like, you come back in the season, they all say the right things. Oh yeah, we know we put it behind us. But sometimes, and until you really get that feel again, and when I say about the feel of playing, and then, okay, it's never going to be easy. it's never going to be easy to win. And I think that the top players are leaders. They've been top players for a reason. And I believe that they now, okay, it's October 28th. It's time to go. The playoffs will come when they come, but we got to get going, and they certainly have done all of that and more.
TSN's Craig Button joining us here on the Nielson Show this morning. Sans Dustin Nielson, Lieutenant Eric in for you. A little bit of our pre-scout tonight. Craig, Oilers back on the ice. It's a back-to-back. They're in Columbus to battle a Blue Jacket team that is also sitting at 500, 3-3-1. Oilers, of course, improving to 4-4-1 last night. Not going to get too ahead of ourselves, but just based on the two games we've kind of talked about, the Oilers winning, both in different fashions, I guess. Again, I think we can get ahead of ourselves. They shouldn't, and they won't. But what can you give us a little bit of a pre-scout on the Blue Jackets thus far heading into tonight's action?
Well, we know the Blue Jackets have undergone some change. Front office, new coach, and Dean Evison, and certainly dealing with the real sadness of the passing of Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah. Some injuries. Boone Jenner's out, Eric Branson's out. I mean, some key leadership. But what it does is now it can galvanize a team, and the young players are getting in there. They know they're going to play. They want to prove themselves. Dean isn't going to be hesitant to push them. They've been competitive, Eric. They've been competitive. They have not been a team that has come out and been anything less than competitive. And I think that speaks to a really good spirit. I think it speaks to a really good what I would call focus on, okay, what can we control? What can we do? I think Dean deserves a lot of credit, but the players deserve a lot of credit. They got a lot of good young players in there. And we've heard that for a while now, but those young players are a little bit older. They're a little bit more capable. So as long as the Oilers recognize that they're going to go against a team that's competitive, then now you root in and try to find a way to get on the right side of the score at the end of the game. But it won't be easy for the Edmonton Oilers. And all you have to do is look at recent games of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and certainly the coaching staff will be telling the Oilers players, hey, listen, we got to be ready to go here because this team is going to be ready to compete.
Yeah, walking wounded, as you mentioned, but certainly a team that's feeling that competitive spark throughout their lineup, maybe a tough opponent to have on the second half of a 2 games in 2 nights scenario on the road. TSN's Craig Button. We'll let you go from here, Craig. I just wanted your final thoughts. We'll be doing a draft later on this morning, 9 to 11 Mountain. It's the Edmonton Sports Talk draft of scary things. If you were selecting first overall, whom or what would you select in terms of frights or scary things for you? Heights, spiders, clowns, some sort of a social situation? Where would Craig Button go in this draft?
Oh, it's heights all the way. It's heights 100%. And and I hike. I go up, but I don't get too close to the ledge, Eric. Yeah, and I'm not a heights guy. I'll stand on the top, but I'm not going to the edge of a balcony and looking over. It's heights for me. And then the other one that would scare me from a hockey point of view is Brandon Tanier in his season opening picture.
Sneaky good there, and I'm with you on the heights. Leave the edge to the rest, the thrill seekers. I don't mind that. Craig, appreciate your time, man. Coming in on a Monday. Have a good rest of the week.
Yeah, you have a good rest of the week too, Eric, and hope Dustin's feeling better soon.
I'll pass along your message. Thanks a lot. That's TSN's Craig Button. We love him. Always a great guest to have on the show, whether it's Monday, Tuesday. He's a 5-tool player. He can work in anywhere down the line. Any day of the week is fine with him, as long as it's not too high, I guess, in saying that. I'm a heights guy too, Trev. I can walk on a bridge, and if I get used to it, but it's the vision in the landscape. I can't take the whole, it's too much for the eyes to handle. And I'm with Craig on the ledge. I can fly in a plane, no sweat. I don't mind. I can walk over a bridge. It's all fine. But when I get to the edge, when I see too much of the view, I get the eye. I feel like I'm going to pass out. The blood leaves,
Oh, gosh. Yeah, we're the exact opposite. I'm not scared of heights. I hate flying, but it's not for heights.
Different. Yeah,
just the turbulence I can't stand, and just the fact that you're on 700 kilometers an hour. It's freaky.
It's it's
terrifying. But yeah, that is interesting. Heights is a big one. I wonder. I feel like that's got to be high.
I'm not even. Yeah,
No pun
it's tied to
intended.
my board. It's not even like a scare. I just get like, you get that. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm gonna fall over. Like
Yeah.
I get all confused.
Because we were discussing hiking this summer. I was like, because you like walking. LT.
love walking around,
You're like,
yeah.
what about going on some trails, go hiking a mountain? And you're like, no, that's not my thing.
Yeah, I was in Wales one year, summer of '08, and we're going cliffside of this ore mountain or something like that, and I tapped out. I was like, I can't go anymore. This is nuts. And they're like mountain goats. They're going up, and like I'm like, if you like, too much. Too much. Like Oilers fans, Dr. J says, button backs away from the ledge. Love it. Yeah, no, I get your fears in, your scary things. I mean, this draft can take a variety of forms. You could actually go like normal scares, or you can go like, I don't want to give away too much here. In fact, I'm going to zip
There's
my
gonna be
lips
like
right now.
so many.
Innuendos and jokes.
Yes.
You can like,
There's gonna be ones where I didn't even think of that.
exactly. And you today,
There's gonna be
especially,
so many.
Coming into the show and
I'm
doing
like-
your
I'm
first draft,
essentially
you
a
could
2-in-1.
select yourself. Yeah.
Because I have like my own ideas, and then obviously Dusty has his. I can't wait to dive into those. I'm still waiting.
You'll have
I
the
haven't done it
earpiece
yet.
in. You'll be getting.
Yeah, can you imagine? That'll be our shtick. Okay,
should
what
get
do you
in
think
your-
here, boss?
You've got to have one
Okay.
around here. Yeah, you should always
Okay.
actually do it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
You'll really screw up the other two guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob from the Grove says, "Hey, Eric, as today you do the wide shot segment while Dusty is on the IR. Maybe we do like a just for one.
Yeah, you won't know.
Here we go. Yeah, Trev's gonna put it. I love it. It's like an old '90s skateboard video, the old fisheye. You get lots of things going on. I can move my hands like this. You can kind of go over here.
That's
and go over
funny.
there.
Dusty's always adamant. Trev, wide shot. Come on.
No.
But I don't mind the shot.
I don't mind
like
the
the
wide shot. It's kind of it's like you're hanging out in the room with us type of thing. It's not so serious.
Yeah.
7:22. Let's get to it. Did have some time to
Spin that wheel,
conjure
maybe.
up a little bit of wheel action today. The wheel is just, the wheel is mighty, and the wheel will get you where you need to go tonight. Our friends at coolbet.com. Look, Jake, Patty, whoever's listening, I know Huss is stateside now, but the boys at Coolbet, I've got the wheel. Do what you must with the wheel. We got our anytime touchdown score for tonight's Monday Nighter, Giants and Steelers from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh now a minus 270 on the money line, minus 6 for the spread right now. Giants plus 6 and an over-under of 37. So if you want to do anything based on tonight's Monday Nighter or Oilers Jackets, and of course the World Series as well is up, Yankees and Dodgers, stay cool, bet responsibly with our friends via CoolBet. You can visit it today, coolbet.com. But let's spin this wheel for the anytime touchdown score tonight. Some decent names on here, I should say. Some maybe lesser knowns. You got your Malik Neighbors and things such as that. Najee Harris, Devin Singletary, Pat Fryermuth. Like to have a lot of fun with him. So let's get to the wheel. I'm going to spin it now. Once again, anytime touchdown score tonight, Giants and Steelers. Ride with us at CoolBet. It's always fun to watch as well when we got a little player to cheer for at the Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Trev, if you're ready, let's spin that wheel. Construction paper's still holding up. I wonder if it's still haunted, hey?
Yeah,
We'll wait
let's
for the
see.
move. Did Dusty tighten it? Oh, it is Pat Fryermuth. It tried to turn off
Yeah.
Fryermuth a bit.
It did.
I think Dusty got to this with the Allen
He
key.
figured it out.
It seems like it. So Pat Fryermuth plus 240 for the Steelers. He will be your anytime touchdown scorer tonight. And once again, you can find that up at coolbet.com. Jake Bolenmoss, Patty Gregoire, and the boys up there at Coolbet will be taking care of that. Pat Fryermuth. Dusty away, that's a good one. He always loves saying Pat Fryermuth's last name, so maybe a bit of an ode to Dusty. It's the Dustin Nielson anytime touchdown scorer. Pat Fryermuth is the guy we'll be riding with tonight. Once again, coolbet.com is where you can go. Now, Trev, with Dusty away, you're doing sports updates today. You have to wrangle off a texter for the EST Flyaway to LA keyword. How do you want to handle this next 10 minutes or change?
I think our best bet would be to do the giveaway now.
Say the word now.
Say the word now. Yes, correct.
You'll then text in the word. We'll let that populate a bit. You'll do a sports update.
Correct.
We'll come back. I'll go on another rant, and you'll find somebody and bring them on.
Perfect.
Love it. Love it. So you've got the
Do
word
like that.
today. You'll say it all. I mean, again, the EST Flyway to LA. And if you are new, if you are just joining us today, welcome. If you are watching, hit a like, hit a sub on the YouTube. And if you are tuning in, iHeart TuneIn Radio or EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the EST Flyway to LA. We are sending you. It's a trip for two, December 26th to 30th. Hockey, basketball, and football, plus flights, hotel, and the ever-popular rental car. You can qualify 4 times daily. We're sending you to see the Warriors and Clippers from the Intuit Dome. Cardinals, Rams, little NFL action from Inglewood. And Edmonton taking on one of either LA or Anaheim in the ice hockey. And it's all presented by the 780. You can check them out today, 780.com. It's the word 7, it's the numbers 80, and it's the .com. The 780 homegrown local shop right here in E-Town. It's both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand. Great shirts that they drop by as well. I've still got mine in the closet, ready to be worn here on the show one of these days. All things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 100 local vendors. Got a couple lawn chairs from Kuma there as well. Great, great chairs. Local vendors from the 780 area code helping promote and get their brands off the ground. So we're people helping people here from the 780. You can check them out online. Once again, at 780.com or at any of their 5 brick and mortar locations. Southgate, Londonderry, Kings. Is that even brick and mortar if you're in a mall? I don't know if it's a standalone, but Southgate Mall, Londonderry Mall, Kingsway Mall, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. So lots of options there. Go check them out. Tell them EST sent you. And as I professed, if you're looking for a gift for somebody's birthday, you love the person, you say, I don't know what to get them. They're not giving me any hints. I don't know. Even Christmas. Christmas is coming. Head down to the 780. You will be amazed at just the randomness. Plus, it's local, so you know it's going to a good cause. You're helping out local vendors and businesses. Plus, you're getting a gift that you didn't even know you were going to get for this person or loved one. So, 780.com. Today's keyword, and you can text it in, 780-218-9999. No more stalling like I want again on the Hangout. Let's get the word. I think Trev's got it on the screen. He's going to bring it in. And Trev, you say the word as you got it all. You got the word. Take it away, YTT.
The word of the day. Text in right now. Angel.
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 Honey, you're my darling. You're my
It's not going through here. Bear with me. But angel. Text in angel. That is the word of the day. It's still not going through. Okay, but text angel in a sentence. Lieutenant Eric is an angel.
And I'm going backwards. I can't even.
I don't know why it's not going through. Well, there you go.
Angel.
Angel.
Angel. Angel.
One more try here. There we go. Okay.
It's a tough one. Angel and angle, if you don't know. Canadian spelling,
I had to double take.
It could get you.
I was like, did Maddie put angle in this? Or is this angel? Is he
Maddie would
with me?
put angle as a keyword. We're beating up on him today somewhat.
When you say it enough, you start questioning yourself.
All of these words, when you say it and you stare at them too much, you're like, does this word even exist?
Yeah, that's a very weird thing.
Yeah, angel. 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 Angels in the outfield.
Sweet.
California Angels. Go back to California Angels. I like the C and the A and the little halo up top.
Oh.
Paris Jewelers inbox is humming. It is going.
Damn.
Angel is getting text in like nobody's business. Angel, 780-218-9999. YouTube Trev, we'll get to a sports update right now for the fine folks out of Park Mazda. Mitch Lewicki is an angel. Just a real saint in the car dealership game. But check out parkmazda.ca, your dealer for life. Trev's got more on updates around the sporting world. We'll be back. We'll call a qualifier. If you've texted an angel, I can't stress enough, don't be a loser to start off the week. Be by your phone. If the phone rings and it's a number you're not recognizing, it's probably us. If it's not, that's fine too. Just hang up on them and continue to wait. But if you texted an angel, be by your phone. You could be getting a call. It's the EST Flyway to LA, presented by the 780. Trev's got a sports update. We'll be back with the Fan Zone and Mike Tanier on the way to wrap up Week 8 in the National Football League.
Oh.
You angel.
Leon Draisaitl celebrating his 29th birthday with 2 goals and an assist as the Oilers win on the road in overtime 3-2 against the Detroit Red Wings. Draisaitl also potting the overtime winner as the Oilers improved to 4-4-1 on the season. The club is in Columbus tonight to take on the Blue Jackets as the Oilers and Blue Jackets are one of 8 games around the NHL this fine evening. Tom Gazzola has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows live from Boston Pizza Westgate. Coverage starts at 4 o'clock. In the NFL, Brock Purdy tossed a touchdown and ran in another as the 49ers beat down the Cowboys 30-24 on the Sunday Nighter. Week 8 wraps up tonight when the Giants visit the Steelers. You can join Lieutenant Eric for this one at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Loaded burgers on special and a tall boys of 6 o'clock or lager, courtesy of Alley Cap Brewing. Switching to the majors, Shohei Ohtani has been cleared to play as Game 3 of the World Series continues tonight from New York between the Yankees and Dodgers, LA holding a 2-0 series lead. Ohtani suffered a shoulder injury late in the Dodgers win on Saturday night. First pitch for this one, 6:08 from Yankee Stadium. And 11 games in the association tonight, including the Raptors at home to the Nuggets. You can watch that one today at 5:30. The Sports Update is brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki. Mitch's biggest fear is service without a smile.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki in a tuxedo t-shirt because it says, like, he wants to be formal, but he's also here to party too.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Got a big shot off this stick of mine. I keep those lanes wide open all the time. Drysidle setting up shop, McDavid's flying. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line. As sure as new G is slick and Kane is tough. We're going all the way this year, enough is enough. And we can play 'em straight or we can play 'em rough. I'm feeling fine when I walk the line. You know I shoot that puck so very, very hard. The name on the back of my jersey says Bouchard. And we're gunning for first place, not a wild card. I'll hit the twine when I walk the line.
All right, 7:34. We can let that puppy run, of course. Not the dog days of summer anymore. Lots to get to here. Lieutenant Eric today. I'm usually in, but sans Dustin Nielson on his very own show. Dusty a little under the weather, but of course we were taking your suggestions as to why he's not here. The real suggestions, of course, 780-218-9999, the Paris Jewelers inbox. Could be your way to text the day, $20 to A&W this morning. But Lieutenant Eric and YouTube Trev manning the monitors, doing everything and keeping this show on the rails. Want to let you know, as always, though, the Nielson Show, they don't take sick days. South Fort Chevrolet, presented by the fine folks at South Fort Chev. Daniel celebrating a birthday over the weekend. They had a big party for him down at the dealership. Of course, he was entering Week 8 in the NFL, 0-7 in his fantasy league. So hopefully Daniel got a bit of a birthday gift is there with a bit of a dub. But again, October coming to an end. Employee pricing for the rest of this month. You can save up to $15,000 on select models down at South Fort Chev. Check them out online as well if you want to do a bit of perusing and a bit of browsing. www.southfortchev.com. Tell them EST sent you and you'll get an additional $1,000 credit on your trade-in vehicle. They will not be beaten on any price. You can find the best deal you think you can and then take it out to the fort and they'll beat it. Drive it a little, save a lot with South South Fort Chevrolet. We're now going to take a spin around Week 8 in the NFL, the only way we know how on a Monday morning, and that's with Mike Tanier. He's brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports and memorabilia specialists. You can check them out for NFL headwear from the best brands, including New Era and 47, located in Edmonton, corner of St. Albert Trail, 128th Ave, online at proamsports.ca. As we bring in Mike Tanier, great to see you, Mike. Always great to start off a week with you on the screen. And let's dive into Week 8. We'll get to the Monday Nighter tonight. We'll get to the Sunday Nighter last night. But it's Jaden Daniels' magic. For his next trick, he will be performing what? Like, that was just some theater yesterday in the Commanders' win over the Bears.
What an unbelievable finish that we will be talking about for the rest of the year. That's going to make the end-of-year highlight films, not just for the NFL, but like the ESPN highlights that's going to be on there. What a boring game it was for the first three quarters. I just want to point that out. Yeah, Daniels played okay, but they couldn't punch the ball into the end zone. It was back and forth. They looked like two rookie quarterbacks. Then at the end, nonstop fireworks. Not just the Hail Mary, but the weird fumble at the goal line. A lot of chaos at the end of that game.
To the Sunday Nighter we go to, again, it was getting shoved down our throat how traditionally successful that these franchises have been with their Super Bowls and their appearances and whatnot. Different story this year as both of these teams needing this one. 49ers hanging on to defeat the Cowboys 30-24. Niners now 4-4. They're heading into a bye. Trade deadline is looming. Both your thoughts on what they need to do. And now the Cowboys, I mean, where do you go from here with this franchise?
49ers need to get healthy. That's the main thing. If you look around the trade deadline, I don't think anything's there that's going to help them, especially when you look at how cash and cap strapped they are from 2025 on. You can't bring somebody in and say, hey, 3-year contract. You have to bring somebody in as a rental. I don't know who can help that team as a rental. The people who can help that team is Jordan Mason, who got hurt last night. Debo, who got hurt last night. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey out in the win, some of the other guys. They're in great shape. Cowboys are a wreck. If you look at the Cowboys, the fact that they're behind the Commanders and the Eagles in their division, you look how poorly they're playing. And let's face it, midway through the fourth quarter, that game was essentially over. They made it a big run of it at the end, but they do that all the time. They're not winning these games. You're right. This is a traditionally successful team at this point. Big fan base. They're not playing well. I don't think they're a playoff team.
To the Monday Nighter we go now. Steelers and Giants, of course. We all saw the return of Russell Wilson, and the guy catching a bit of his magic was one Pat Freiermuth. We spun our wheel of anytime touchdown scores for today, and the wheel is just, Mike. The wheel selected Pat Freiermuth again. What are you expecting tonight between the Giants and the Steelers team, who seem flush at the quarterback position now moving forward?
They're flush at the quarterback position in part because their defense is so good. Their running game is so good that a quarterback can go out there, and if they're sputtering for a half, the score is 6-3 or 10-6 or whatever, and then you can get a couple plays and make a run. And you might see that tonight against the Giants. The Giants' offensive line, which was never great, but had one great player in Andrew Thomas. Thomas is hurt. Last time we saw the Giants, the Eagles racked up 7 or 8 sacks against them. Now they're going against T.J. Watt and Highsmith and all of those guys. I think this is a game where Russell Wilson's going to be able to be a game manager, maybe get you that touchdown to Freiermuth, but he's not going to have to do a lot because I don't think the Giants are going to be able to move the ball.
Let's go to the AFC East right now. I don't know what the magic number is for the Bills to clinch. Maybe they've already eclipsed it here with a big win in Seattle. That division right now looking a lot scary, not for the Bills, but for the other teams. Of course, the Dolphins saw the return of Tua, but the Pats over the Jets, Mike, a two-pronged question here. Are the Bills right now, and I know we go week to week, the flavors change as they do, but are the Bills the best team in the AFC, and are the Jets, and I know the Titans might give them a run for the money, the Raiders and everything, but are the Bills the best and the Jets the worst right now?
The Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens are the three best. Ravens got caught a little off guard by Jameis Winston yesterday, had a couple of chances to win that game, couldn't. You've got an undefeated Chiefs team that's a repeat champion, so let's not count them out. Bills are playing phenomenal. The magic number feels like it's -3 right now. It feels like they clinched 2.5 weeks ago already. They're playing outstanding. I can't figure out who the worst is right now. The Jets are the most toxic. They are the most dysfunctional. They are the most disappointing. They are a team that goes out there and looks like they are disappointed in themselves midway through the first quarter and plays like that for 3 quarters. And I don't think they're going anywhere this year. I think that was the absolute rock bottom. Even if they pull themselves together, they're going to pull themselves together to go 8-9, not pull themselves together and make a real playoff run.
Mike Tenier joining us, NFL writer, editor, and founder of Two Deep Zone. You can check out his work there. You mentioned as well the Ravens and the Chiefs. Let's get into them, the other darlings of the AFC. And And when it comes to the Ravens, yeah, maybe just the Jameis Winston bump, maybe we call it for there, and running into a bit of a speed ball. The Chiefs, meanwhile, yes, another win, but another pick thrown by Patrick Mahomes. And, you know, again, a divisional game down in Vegas against a Raiders team to which Gardner Minshew kind of making the opposite highlight roles of Jaden Daniels. But what are your thoughts, again, coming out of this week for both of those teams, Kansas City remaining undefeated and the Ravens, you know, hitting a bit of a speed bump along the way?
I think we're past the point where we have to look at Mahomes' stats and say, look at the stats, look at the stats, look at the stats. Look at the undefeated record. Look at the fact that he has lost all these weapons. And, yeah, they bring in Nuke Hopkins. He makes a couple plays. The fact that they're manufacturing victories, Mahomes has nothing to prove on the stat sheet at this point. He's playing incredibly well. And you look at how Andy Reid manufactures those wins. They needed a fourth down stop on defense. They needed a turnover on defense. They got those. And they got 2 touchdowns, you know, from Kelsey, from Worthy. This is a Chiefs team that, again, you talk about clinching the division. The only reason they haven't is because the Broncos keep beating these bad opponents and the Chargers keep beating these bad opponents. They're still going to coast to a victory in that division. And I don't know where they're going to end up, 14 wins, 15 wins, but they're probably going to end up hosting most of their playoff games.
Is Jahmyr Gibbs the best running back in the NFL? I know Derek Lamar Henry has a lot to say about that as well. But, I mean, if you're starting a team today, Mike, who would you want?
Oh, well, if I'm starting a team, I don't want Derrick Henry because he's older.
Sure.
And I don't want Saquon Barkley because of the injuries, but they're both playing phenomenal football. Gibbs is playing excellent football behind the best offensive line in the NFL. So you always have to price that in there. It's like, This is great. It's part of a system. He's also part of a committee right now. It's Sonic and Knuckles. That's what him and Montgomery call themselves. I love it.
Love it.
But, yeah, I love what Gibbs is doing. I love what the Lions are doing overall because it's very balanced. And it's very lethal, especially to these weaker opponents.
Mike Tenier joining us once again, NFL writer, editor, Two Deep Zone. What can we expect up there on Two Deep Zone, Mike? Both wrapping up Week 8, going into Week 9, and I mentioned the trade deadline. Where can people find the work, and what do you got on the way?
Right now, you can see a lot of games we didn't talk about today. I talked about the Falcons. I talked about the Texans. I talked about the Eagles. All of that is on the T Deep Zone today. It'll be running tomorrow. And then the mailbag kicks in. I'm going to have all the thousands of subscribers answering questions. I have no idea what's coming up. It's probably going to be Halloween themed. They're probably going to ask me which coaches give out which candy and things like that.
I don't mind that. That's an interesting question as well. On the Halloween theme, we are doing a draft today, 9 to 11 Mountain Time. It's the Edmonton Sports Talk draft of scary things. If you were, say, selecting first overall, Mike, who or what would you select as a scary thing? This can be pretty broad in terms of what frightens you, if you'd like to share.
Being stuck in an elevator. Hands down. Justin Herbert, God bless you. You survived the experience. I would not. I would start gnawing other people's legs off after about 30 seconds. So forget clowns, forget vampires.
Yeah.
Stuck in an elevator, number one with a bullet.
Yeah, we have lots of categories, but one being social situation, and that might have to find its way up there. It's survival of the fittest, Mike, and you would be in there. Enjoy it. Thanks for your time. Enjoy tonight's Monday Nighter, and we'll talk to you next week, man.
You got to take care and enjoy your week. Happy Halloween.
Nails the dismount every single time. That's Mike Tanier. God love him. Guest on this show, both here at the new place and at the old place. He's been riding with us for years. Mike Tanier, you can find his work, The Two Deep Zone. He's a writer, he's an editor, an all-around great entertaining guy, and we appreciate his roundup of Week 8. 780-218-9999 is the number you can text. And, of course, Mike Tanier and Herm Edwards, our football insiders on the station, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. Rip City Steps says Sonic and Knuckles. Yep, I love that tie-in. As a Sega Genesis guy, Sega better than Nintendo every day of the week. And the Sonic franchise, I will say this too, maybe hot take, but really enjoyed it better than Mario as well. You could put the cartridges on top of each other, slam in Sonic's 2 or 3 onto that Knuckles one, and just kind of have a big mashup there. I love that universe, and I love it when it's involved in our current sports duo, Sonic and Knuckles. Maybe you can fit in a bit of Tails there on that Lions offensive scheme. But Lacombe Drew is back in. Dusty felt unprepared for the fear draft and needed to cram last night. However, he went too far in his research of what vegetables scare him the most, and he is now sitting at home paralyzed with fear, surrounded by broccoli, asparagus, and kale. That'd be Al Michaels. Him and Al Michaels have a lot in common with that, with the asparagus, kale, and vegetable take. I like that one, Lacombe Drew. Coming hard after that text today. I think Barry the Cheater might still be in the lead, but Lacombe Drew, you also have a honorable mention here. I'll just jot you down so I don't lose track of it. I know we had our keyword for the EST Flyway to LA. Trev's wrangling down a caller here. So once again, be by your phone. I can't stress it enough. The worst thing you can do to start off a work week on a Monday. I'm on Ross St. Brown, Tails. I like that, Beef Nips. We'll go with that. Why not? But you want to be by your phone now. He's calling you now. So be by your phone now. It's a scalding hot take, Matt Hyman says. I don't know. I full credit to the Mario franchise. I get it. Very popular. But I just think the options and the graphics and everything with Sonic really took things to another level. The comic books were superb as well. Pat said, like Iron Maiden said, number one has to be Fear of the Dark. Oh, look, that's high on the list, man. There's a lot of elementary fears, like I think you could say in this draft. But does that get you over the line? Does it get you the dub? You kind of want to. We've always said in these drafts, head over heart. And I was brainstorming yesterday with my wife, and she was throwing out some good ones. It got my mind going in a different direction. And I think that's sometimes what you need. Yeah, you can go clown. Yeah, you can go spider's egg. You can do the easy stuff. But there are a few here, and again, I don't want to speak too soon because I don't want to give anything away, but a few ones that can really make you think and go, haha, that is scary. I fear for that every single week, every single day, more so than some fictional clown or going 10 feet up in the air or something such as that. So Fear of the Dark could be one, but yeah, we'll see how this draft kind of takes shape. And again, with no Dustin Nielson, YouTube Trev will be making his maiden voyage into an EST draft, which, again, might be the story of the draft, and he might select himself in fear of taking part in a draft, which could be real EST draft inception. We have a qualifier.
Yes, we do. On the line right now, we have Brian.
Brian with an I or a Y?
Depends how many drinks you've got. Typically with an I, though.
Oh, I like how you just go a fit and theme. Like you can be. It's like me with Erica. Hey, what's your name, Eric? Aaron? Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. I don't mind that. Have you been down to the LA area before? Kind of where we're sending you here, the Inglewood, LA, La La Land type of thing.
I actually have been a couple times.
Okay, business or pleasure?
I went to watch baseball games, actually.
Okay, Dodgers or?
You betcha. I went to a couple Dodgers games, so I have a Dodgers dog at Dodger Stadium.
Oh, love it, man. So this is old hat, but it was a long time ago. You can still kind of we pop you down there. You can still find your way around, eh?
I think we can figure it out.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, we'll be sending you with rental car, all the full accommodations. Once again, we're sending you to a basketball game. You get to check out that brand new Intuit Dome, Clippers and Warriors. More football as well, Rams and Cardinals from SoFi, and Edmonton taking on one of LA or Anaheim. That'll be TBD. What are you looking forward to most on this trip, Brian? And if you do win, who would you bring with you?
I would probably like to go to the NFL game the most, but that Intuit Dome looks totally cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd take my girlfriend with me for sure, even though she's not a sports person. She'd probably like getting out of winter in December.
Well, and who wouldn't? But it's the curious case of a girlfriend. Can I ask as well and put you on the spot, how long have you guys been together?
About 6 years.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Yeah. So you're the common law. I assume you live together.
We do, yes.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. Brian, thank you for sharing your life with me today.
Unless I'm in the doghouse.
What's this?
Unless I'm in the doghouse.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all, look, you have your personalized coffee mug in there, I'm sure. You know, it's a place where you like to go and hang out and kind of get some time alone for Brian with an I or a Y, whatever you so choose. Congrats, Brian. You're in the mix. Once again, you can qualify as many times, and good luck. You might have your name pulled on the grand prize draw.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Love the show.
I love you too, Brian. That's Brian with a Y or an I. Pretty cool guy. 6-year girlfriend. He's all familiar with the doghouse. He's been to LA before.
I don't know him, but I want to know him.
Yeah.
That's what I got from that.
Yeah. Sounds like a pretty cool guy. Sounds like a typical nasty. Probably has his nasty membership. Hey, Atif?
Yeah, I think so. His handle in the text line. You can text us anytime. 780-218-9999. Hungover man in Grand Prairie. That's
okay.
him. He's like, it was a decade of darkness. That's the only way I could fall asloop. So I'm like, I like this guy. I like
medicated, this guy. Yeah. Jimbo says, newsflash, Brian, you're married, bro. LOL. Look, I was together with my wife, too, longer than we've been married. I like getting to know the person.
Yeah, you really got to get to know.
If you're going to spend eternity together.
What's the rush?
And nothing really changes after that point. You get a ring, you have a party, and then it's the same old. It's you're used to it. It's old hat.
Yep. How about Mike's elevator fear? There's two things you can go about that fear.
A claustrophobia.
Yeah. So, well, then maybe three. So there's that awkwardness, and that's a fear of mine. That like just you go
When you're
in,
alone
there's
with somebody, yeah.
and then it's just like because it's
So you're
that's
not even
got
a
to be
broken
the worst.
elevator. You're just getting into an elevator.
Yeah, so like I look at it like that. Whenever I go in an elevator with someone, I always break the silence. I have to, man. There's nothing worse than
So what do
being
you
in
do? Tell a joke or just?
I'm just
kinda-
like no. I usually start off like, hey, like let's talk. Like I can't handle the awkward
Very
silence.
honest. Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, okay, I agree. I'm like, what's up? Like tell me something about yourself. And then it's like you only get one question in. I'm like, oh, nice meeting you, man. Have a great day. That's all it is. But I always start off like, so like, let's talk. We have to talk about something because there's nothing worse. That is a fear of mine. I hate that. But then there's also being trapped in an elevator. And when I was in grade 2, I was stuck in an elevator for about 10 minutes in Las Vegas by myself. And it went completely black. And it was the worst 10 minutes of my
in there too.
Yeah. It was the
That's
worst
not
thing
good.
ever. I was petrified. I was crying. I was young. I was in grade 2. But so the elevator story, I get like there's two things with an elevator. I just don't like. I've got a fear of elevators, I guess.
It's a funny one because you could just take claustrophobia and that's a fear in itself.
Yeah.
Tight, small places, but then you can really explore with what is it? I mean, Dusty, water massage for crying out loud. He almost lost the plot down in Vegas. Hung over. He couldn't take it. It was just too tight.
Oh, I wish I'd pay money. Oh, I'd pay money to see that. I really would.
No, he was sweating, baby. I mean, it was between that or the what do you get, the hydration needles and the intravenous. But he opted for the water massage, and not the best choice on his part, we shall say. But Dustin Nielson, under the weather today. We're looking for your Dustin Nielson scenarios today. It is your path to text of the day, 780-218-9999. You can text it in. Nielson Show presented as always by Southport Chevrolet. It's myself, Lieutenant Eric, and YouTube Trev. We're having a nice, cozy show, getting you going on a Monday. Nothing short to talk about. We did touch on a bit of CFL here. Somebody's texted in anonymously talking about a loss in the CFL as I went on a bit of a rant and people were making fun of the dwindling numbers down at Commonwealth Friday night. Of course, with a very expensive Oilers game going on at the exact same time, people not having a problem dishing out the cash for that, but this texter seems to believe that ticket and food prices are just too much at the CFL games, and that's why people aren't going. So I'm not going to get suckered into that. Why is a 7-year-old wandering around alone in Vegas, Steady says? That's a question to you. What was going on there?
Yeah, so it was my brother and I. We were seeing who could race down to the pool first. And so we're like, let's take separate elevators.
Ah.
And he's like, okay.
Innocently enough.
Yeah. And then, so it was all good. Yeah, see you at the bottom. Okay, it's great. Let's have fun. And then all of a sudden, he was down there, and then it like malfunctioned, man. It was like, it like shook. It was like, and then it was just stuck. And then I couldn't see anything. And then within, like I think it was around 10 minutes. Finally, it just all of a sudden, lights back on, went back to, the ground floor, I guess. And I was in tears, and it was embarrassing, but it's terrifying, man.
Absolutely.
I thought I was it. I thought I was done.
I think this will be the Fan Zone for today. The Fan Zone is brought to you by Fans First. By fans, for fans, no fees. You can get your Oilers tickets all season long at www.fansfirst.ca. Let's take a little time to get into this EST draft of scary things. Fans, I mean, regardless of who you are and who you cheer for, everybody's got a scare. Everybody's got a fright. And I wanted to get to this one in the nasty chat. Sarah Coles says, I was stuck upside down on a ride for close to an hour. And that's when I don't have on my sheet, but being stuck on a ride. I saw somebody, I was at a theme park once, and the Ferris wheel got stuck. I was going to go on said Ferris wheel 10 minutes prior. Probably would have been stuck had I chose not go. But they were stuck. Fire department has to come. You're sitting up there. What if you have to go to the bathroom?
Oh.
What if so many things racing your mind. You go, but I mean, do you go off the side? Do you go in your pants?
You have to go.
I mean, but to wait for the fire department to come, and then what? And then rescuing you. I'm not getting carried down on a ladder. Yeah. The risk of falling or something, that's not safe at all. I mean, they have to rescue, I get it, but being stuck on a ride, I think that's a real good one. Not so much the claustrophobia, but you're trapped.
How about
a roller coaster?
I'll do you one better. Being stuck on a ride on the Stratosphere in Las Vegas.
Yeah, like I just you can think about different types of rides, but
that one might actually
go to one of those Six Flags and imagine you're on one of those roller coasters. How many? Then you got the heights, then you got the stuckness, and then you got it all.
That's the trifecta.
It's a kaleidoscope of fears staring you down. Ace 96 says, I fear that greatly. Even I have a fear of their pants or shoelaces being eaten by an escalator. I still kind of do. And actually, to be honest, escalators, probably won't find their way on my draft board, but there is like a. I always feel when the steps separating, I'm going to be caught in the middle, and then I'm going to fall and tumble down all the way to the gates of hell.
Yeah, I don't mess around with no escalators, man.
Yeah, you can't.
It's scary.
They're weird things. Yeah. I've always wanted to be an escalator repairman, though. It seems like a weird job. You get to go in there, you know everything. You'd probably answer your fear a lot more getting to know the machine.
What you're working on.
Yeah,
I agree. We're like, it's not too bad at the end of the day.
So, yeah, I mean, get into the draft here for the fan zone. I think we should kind of, as I said, lots of sports going on. We'll be talking a lot more Oilers coming up in the third hour. Of course, TSN's Ryan Rishaug joining us from the Got Your Back pod. We got an orange and blue breakfast to hit as well. Probably a cold bowl of cereal, not the normal buffet, as Ryan will be in as well. So we'll have a bit of a shortened orange and blue breakfast, but we'll be talking a lot of that. And your questions for 3 questions too many. Jen says a lot of people have fear of trypophobia. Google it if I dare. I don't know, all these phobias with weird.
I think that's with holes.
Is that holes?
Yeah.
I understand that. I mean, I know a couple people got on me on Twitter, big bodies of water. And not knowing where the bottom is, the darkness, the depths, going out into a lake, not knowing what's kind of going to grab you and pull you down, that type of thing. Cole Harbor Joe says, me and a buddy got stuck on the mind bender at the top for about 40 minutes. We took the opportunity to have a smoke, he says in quotes, inside the mall. Look, you make do with what you have, and in those situations, I think you'd probably be forgiven to light up and shall we say, edge the nerves a bit with your smoke.
Encountering wildlife's always spooky, very spooky.
That'll get you. You don't know how do you act in that situation. The adrenaline's just flowing.
It depends. You definitely have to be experienced in the situation. But growing up down south, I had a buddy. They were going hunting.
A cougar?
Yeah. They ran into a cougar, and they said it was like the worst 5 minutes of their life. They was just following.
Could also be the best 5 minutes of your life. Get your jokes in now. So let's get that out of the way. But they stalk you. You don't even know they're following you for.
That's the thing that's spooky. Like if you see a cougar, there's a good chance it's trying to eat you.
And
you never see it.
You never see it first. Yeah.
Oh, some of the cougar stories. It's spooky, man.
Some of the cougar stories.
So I've got crazy cougar stories. Man.
Oh, I bet you do. Good looking chap like yourself.
Yep. Yeah,
BPs.
Lots of cougars. Can't get them. I need cougar repellent some days.
The Douglas says, when I was 3, I was at the Eaton Center, now City Center, and ran away from my mom and ran towards the guardrail. Slipped through, but was luckily caught by my shoe. Suffice to say, I'm afraid of heights. Yeah, I don't like to go off Craig Button the edge. Like even at the mall, that second level, getting too close, I always feel like that plexiglass is just gonna. For some reason, this is the time it's gonna break. I'm gonna plummet to my doom. I don't know why. It won't.
That's a good one.
But even those small little spaces. Oh, I'm gonna slide through there or slip through like a sheet of paper. Give me a break. But obviously, when you're 3, that's a different story. Fear of confined spaces. Phil from a balcony in Banff. He's got a long text here. There's a movie about an unstable mine where a group of miners were trapped, and the only way out was a tiny space at the bottom of the rock wall. They crawl through one at a time. As the mountain shakes and rocks fall, just as the last person's head emerges from the tunnel, the mountain shifts. He is crushed. I would not even crawl into that hole. There are those explorers that get into that stuff, and they go kilometers deep into the mantle.
And you're just wiggling. Like it's ridiculous. That would be a tough one for sure. Just even going into a cave scares me for that reasoning. You never know. Like
you're at the you're at the earth. Like the earth can do whatever it wants at that point in time. It can collapse on you, whatever. I don't think that's claustrophobia.
No,
it shouldn't be. Hey, like it's
because there's a lot of space. Some of them caves are big. It's just the idea. Yeah, I don't know whether you'd call that one, but that one's spooky.
I wonder though if you draft like claustrophobia, does that take any sort of situation where like
that
you know what I mean?
Removes a lot because it could be claustrophobia in a car or whatever.
We'll need a ruling on that, maybe. Because that changes the game in a sense. If you're taking these phobias, you might just want to draft a bunch of phobias and then you leave everybody else with nothing.
That's fair.
So we'll see. 7:59.
1 hour away.
Now the nerves start going. You have to draft yourself. You have to do draft inception, where the scariest thing, and that might get you a win. Hey, and if you get a win for Dusty as his proxy, boy, oh boy, Ray's
does
coming.
That mean I think he's out. I think that's what it means. He's out.
Well,
he said in the emails, like, this is your shot. You've got this. I'm like, well, if I win, I'm going to take your position now.
You do
forward.
realize you're setting yourself up now for a win. Like this
have
could
to.
be a thing. We don't put the names on the drafts
Anymore?
but I think if Tom's looking for 4 in a row. If he can beat you coming in here, and again, if you're dangling the thought and the idea of Dusty now banished from drafts because you win one, I think a lot of the popular vote might sway to your side, which might damage Tommy's chance. It'll definitely damage myself and Glue Guy's chances. But boy, what a twist this would be.
It would be good.
Dusty out of the drafts.
Yeah.
Losing his position to an illness, to injury, right? Like you can't lose to
that
injury.
hurts. Yeah, no.
That does hurt.
But even like last minute things, like just getting thrown in there, it's kind of scary sometimes. Like
you got to go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like I was like, as soon as you told me that this morning, I was like, oh, like I was kind of shocked. I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. So lots of fears.
780-218-9999. We can play a little of that with kind of easy trivia. 3 questions is too many as well coming up after the top of the hour. We got a lot to get to. As I said, Oilers in Columbus tonight. They're looking to get above the 500 mark, get above water here on the season against a motivated and emotionally motivated Columbus Blue Jackets squad. So second half of a back-to-back, not to be taken lightly tonight. Of course, fans can. Hopefully the team doesn't tonight. But we'll have more on Oilers Blue Jackets with Ryan Rishaug. We'll set that up. We'll knock down last night's overtime win in Detroit. All that good stuff. A jam-packed hour 3 as we make our way through. This is the Nielson Show presented by South Fort Chevrolet. Lieutenant Eric, no Dustin Nielson this morning, and YouTube Trev behind the monitors. He's got a sports update right now for Claiborne Services. It's the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Leon Draisaitl celebrating his 29th birthday with 2 goals and an assist as the Oilers win on the road in overtime 3-2 against the Detroit Red Wings. Draisaitl also potting the overtime winner as the Oilers improve to 4-4-1 on the season. The club is in Columbus tonight to take on the Blue Jackets as the Oilers and Blue Jackets are one of 8 games around the NHL this fine evening. Tom Gazzola has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows live from Boston Pizza Westgate. Coverage starts at 4 o'clock. In the NFL, Brock Purdy tossed a touchdown and ran in another as the 49ers beat down the Cowboys 30-24 on the Sunday Nighter. Week 8 wraps up tonight when the Giants visit the Steelers. You can join Lieutenant Eric for this one at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Loaded burgers on special and tall boys of 6 o'clock lager courtesy of Alley Cap Brewing. Switching to the majors, Shohei Ohtani has been cleared to play Game 3 of the World Series as it continues tonight from New York between the Yankees and Dodgers, LA holding a 2-0 series lead. Ohtani suffered a shoulder injury late in the Dodgers win on Saturday night. First pitch for this one at 6:08 from Yankee Stadium. And 11 games in the association tonight, including the Raptors at home to the Nuggets. You can watch this one today at 5:30. Take your career to the next level with Claiborne Services. They're hiring all positions, including journeyman bricklayers and apprentices of all levels. Take advantage of their outstanding mentorship program and work with peace of mind knowing they are an industry leader in safety. Visit www.claiborneservices.com or make it easy and give Jeff a call at 780-910-6728. Not bad. Not bad.
What say you? Hey, nasty crew. We got the Nielson Show flu. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. What say you? Hey, nasty crew. My wife thinks I got better things to do, but there's nothing I can do about it. We're tuning in, not tuning in, we're listening online. We catch up with the podcast when we fall behind. We're texting in the nasty chat, what's on our mind. 780-218-9999. No more interference from corporate interest. To Tutti and Eric and all of the back end. Like Brzezinski and Noodles, Captain can gauge it. Maybe it's fun but a cool bed to make a little wager. We can't wait for the Monday mandate. Shaggy's always on time, Tommy's always late.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Forget about the old place. Hey, we were number 1 in the text race. We don't miss all the commercial breaks, but we sure miss Nickelback today. We wanna hear some Huntix and we wanna hear Renee. Why not hold the neck up when I want our kids away? Beat up the tire fire and remember that name. We love every goal song, but what about the games? Macramella, Rapapo, Dagger and Tanier. It ain't Christmas season, but they sound like reindeer. Button and my cousin and the tales of the North. All about him give a present, Dusty go forth. What say you? AM Nasty Crew. We got the Nielson Show flu. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it.
8:05, it is the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, entering the third and final hour of the show. No Dustin Nielson this morning. He is a little under the weather. Of course, that's no fun, so we'll be taking your real reasons Dustin Nielson is not in the chair. Text them in, 780-218-9999. You could be winning the text of the day, $20 to A&W. It doesn't change, though. The Nielson Show always presented by the fine folks down at South Fort Chevrolet. You can see them for the remainder of the month for October. Great deal going on right now. And, of course, Daniel and Claire, just a great staff down there, too. But for the month of October, you can save up to $15,000 on select models. Check them out online, www.southfortchev.com. Also, tell them EST sent you, and you'll get an additional $1,000 credit on your trade-in vehicle. Drive a little, save a lot at South Fort Chev. And, of course, Daniel entering Week 8 in the NFL, 0-7 in his fantasy. I am a little curious as to his success or lack thereof this past weekend in the fantasy realm. Dustin gone, as mentioned. Lieutenant Eric in with you. YouTube Trev. We got the call early today, so no Will Fraser. That was a fun show on Friday. Having old Willie back riding a shotgun. Bit of a different vibe. We might see a bit of him as well this week, given the fact that Dusty is gone. But get your texts in. YouTube Trev handling the sports. He's getting people on the line. Did you get somebody for Kind of Easy Trivia as well? Did somebody text in? I didn't even put out a call, did I?
Yes.
Perfect.
We're good. I am just curious. Do you have questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going
You
to say.
have the ticker and the clubby loop. Good. See, we're clipping it together here. It's like making a wheel with construction paper here, but we'll get you through. We'll get you what you need to know. On the way in this hour, Ryan Rishaug of TSN and the Got Your Back pod. We'll dive into more Oilers talk, both breaking down last night and setting up tonight, and an orange and blue breakfast as well. YouTube Trev and I will get you set for the game. That hurts as well for the fine folks down at James H. Brown Injury Lawyers. And right now, a little fun, though, to start off the hour. Kind of easy trivia and 3 questions too many. If you have any questions for 3 questions too many, feel free to get them in via the text line, 780-218-9999, or in the nasty chat as well. People are, what did you stared at that? There's some sort of silence thing. I had to go to the WC here, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I just looked at the camera for maybe 10
was
seconds.
Was it dead air?
Even.
Did you have the bed going on at least?
Yeah, I had the bed going on. Well, then we do it all the time.
Yeah,
and then I just said,
dead air.
No, not bad. Yeah. So I thought it was funny. I don't know.
I don't know what the alarm was.
I won't. I'll talk next time. Nasties.
Yeah, the awkward silence and coming off your elevator thing, which is kind of funny that you were silent, but it's fine here, but not in an elevator.
I'm playing into it, okay?
Yeah. Well, who we got today? We're playing Kind of Easy Trivia again for Mr. Mike's. Gift certificate to Mr. Mike's is online. I saw Kev, nasty member Kev, was at Mr. Mike's taking advantage of a Kind of Easy Trivia win. He had his gift card. I don't know what he got, though. I didn't see what was on the menu for Kevin, if you could elaborate on that, Kev. But who we got today playing for the Mr. Mike's?
This is Neil. Neil's going to give it a go today.
Neil Box Pounder Neil?
Nope.
Okay. Neil, welcome in. Let the festivities begin. You're invited to Mr. Mike's Fiesta Fusion. Celebrate the flavors of the new Mexican and Spanish-inspired features like patatas bravas, the Fusion Feast platter, chili lime ribeye. Oh, boy. Feature drinks and more, plus $1 from every feature entree sold will help nourish a hungry child through a local breakfast program in this community. Join the Fiesta Fusion at your local Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casually. Neil, how you doing, man? How was the weekend?
Oh, it was good, man. I worked, but I should have said this is Northside Neil from beside Scout there in the tailgate. What's going on, man?
Northside Neil, yes. You and I have had some great tailgates in the past, have we not?
Yeah, I liked your preach this morning, man.
Hey, thanks. And you were down. I couldn't make it down to the final one Friday night. There was a lot of stuff going on, but what was the vibe like? I know it was kind of cooler. The team's out of it. The Oilers are playing, the Penguins and all that stuff, but you got a really good stall there next to the Elks herd. And just quickly, the season it was, and how was things for you Friday night? Of course, you guys are always having a good time. I would have never have guessed over the past couple seasons the team was where it was at record-wise with the amount of smiles and the fun being had at the tailgate.
Yeah, I wasn't there on Friday, man. I'm up north working right now, but the whole season though was awesome. That chili cook-off is probably hands down the best night. But No, it was good, man. I feel like that tailgate needs to be more advertised for random people that don't have tickets.
It's
for the
growing.
tailgate, 'cause
It
it's
is
awesome.
growing, right? Like, I mean, we are seeing
yeah,
some
big
growth
time.
there. Did you have a chili in the contest?
I had too many chilies. No, I didn't make one, but I was.
Okay.
I wanted
yeah.
to be at the.
You were the
participant
sampler,
team.
one of the judges. Yeah, you were also feeding me something else out of a bottle. I remember easily that
Yeah,
night.
Fireball.
Yeah. Geez, you guys. Well, good to have you on, man. And if I don't see you soon, I'll see a kickoff next season. But or maybe we'll see you soon collecting a Mr. Mike's gift card. We'll see. You know the deal here. You need just 3 out of 5. We only got one ticker option today. It is the long one, so you should be fine. I got the questions here. If you're good to go, man, Trev will start the ticker after I read the first one. Are you set?
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Perfect. Did the Elks win this weekend?
Yes.
Which league allows a play called a rouge?
Ooh, pass.
Did the Oilers win last night?
Yeah.
Which Oilers celebrated his 29th birthday yesterday?
Leon Draisaitl.
What position does Dak Prescott play?
Poor quarterback.
Love it. He's in.
My name is Julius, and I'm your twin brother. I've been looking forward to this moment my whole life. Excuse me, but I was just taking a shower. Tell me a little bit about Vincent. Was he a great athlete? Was he interested in chess and poetry? My name is Julius. My name is Julius. My name is Julius.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
A hard dismount there. I love it. You got the changing, what was it? Changing 200? Is that where we're at? 100, 200? Love it. Good to see. Attaway nasties. I'm going to shed a tear here. I really like this. Not expected on a day when the big guy's not here. Of course, the name that dons the show, Nielson. But he, again, is sick. It's Lieutenant Eric, YouTube Trev. Way to beat a Neil. He's off to Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, the casualest place ever in the Fiesta Fusion. So congratulations to him. He did get the Rouge question, which I find oddly, well, I don't know. I just find it odd. The Elks won based off the punt Rouge. Which league allows a play called the Rouge? Unless I didn't read it properly, that's probably it. But Neil got 4 out of 5. He's on his way to Mr. Mike's. Congratulations, Neil. And great seeing you this season, buddy. Hopefully we'll see you here in the office collecting your winnings and looking forward to next season's tailgate. The chat is going off here, and I'm not talking the nasty chat or the Paris Jewelers inbox, our 4-person draft chat. Jay Milne is waking up to the news. So am I hearing this right? No Dusty? Quinn says, what is going on? And Tom Gazelle says, I'll take an Americano as well. He's unfazed. He doesn't really care. He's just looking for 4 in a row casually. But yeah, I mean, as people kind of wake up now knowing that now you'll be the proxy. Yep. You'll be wearing the earpiece. You'll be the surrogate. I don't know how this changes people's strategy, if at all. But again, as I said, if you win, there's no way Dusty can then participate in another. You can't just ride off into the sunset. Yeah, so if you win today and people know that, they might just be throwing their votes to you in some sort of a sympathy or a screw Dustin Nielsen kind of scenario. So
I hope they vote me for, or vote my list for like what I select.
You want to win on merit. Yeah.
Not just to get Dusty out.
Yeah.
Because he provides a lot to the draft. He's funny. You need someone like Dusty in a draft.
He's the big cat. Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I'm just, if I get it, I'll be telling him I'll never let him forget it.
On a week that you're moving?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a boon?
Mid.
Wow.
I don't win much, but so that's why this would mean a lot to me. My first ever, be 1 for 1, and then just retire. I also could do that.
You could do that too, actually. That wouldn't be a bad way to do it.
Undefeated in the odds couple.
You know what? That's also an option for
benched in basketball, but whatever.
Dusty gets back. You retire with the most successful winning percentage in draft history. You'd be top of the marks.
I retire.
Yeah, no asterisks.
Nope.
So this adds a wrinkle to today's draft. Once again, we'll probably have the preamble starting at 9. Iwanic will take us in individually, grill us with that interview between 2 ferns, and then we'll get the draft going 9 to 11 here on the EST Hangout today, the EST draft of scary things. We move on the show. We got to get clicking because time is running out here. 3 questions too many, brought to you by the fine folks at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki, where if YouTube Trev retires and Dusty's too sick, he wouldn't mind doing an EST draft. Park Mazda, your dealer for life. You can check them out today at parkmazda.ca. 3 questions here. I got 3, and Trev, you can chime in too if you have a suggestion. suggestion or you have an idea. Question number 1, what would be, well, actually, first, where can people find you on social media, Trev?
Yeah, on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me at YouTube_Trev, all lowercase. And yeah, that'd be nice. I'm always
Instagram as well.
Instagram as well, and Twitter. So yeah, go give me a follow. See what I'm up to on these. Oh, I'm crazy.
He's always getting up to something. He's always getting up to something. And the moving too. The moving's always fun to document on the socials.
Absolutely.
So with the news that Randy Ambrosie will be stepping away from his commissioner role in the Canadian Football League, what would be better for the CFL? A former player manager as commish or a corporate type? And you can play along as well. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat. I think both options have their pros and cons. Obviously, an understanding of the league inside out wouldn't hurt. Who's to say, though, a former player can operate at a boardroom level and do the... Let's just be honest. Commissioner is... You're working for the Board of Governors. So basically the question is, who does the Board of Governors think would be better, a former player or a business type? Trev, do you have any particular flavor that you would like to see? Somebody boring, a suit and tie guy, or some sort of raw ex-player not too far removed from the game? Not looking for names, but just those two types. And it doesn't need CFL in this particular example, but as a commish, sports you follow, would you want a businessman or more of somebody on the ex-player side?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the ex-player side route. We haven't really seen that as far as, looking at the NHL. You got the business approach, the same with NBA. So it would be a different approach if they had, an ex-player. I think, would that be better for the league? Maybe, what are your thoughts on that? Do you want an excited, let's go kind of guy, or is the professional approach better?
I always liked Mark Cohen as a commish. He was a guy that was always fun. Never played in the league, but his age and his background was the type that he would get into the tailgate with you, mix it up. He'd have, maybe one more beer than he should have, and you'd see him kind of stumbling around, walking around prior to kickoffs at certain stadia. So I always had a soft spot for Mark Cohen, and him, I guess, falling into that business type category. If anybody has any name suggestions, spit them out here. The commish is in the nasty chat. Quinn Phillips.
Speaking of...
Your Excellency, we salute you. How about your commish? She says, referring to herself. I'm up for it, but might be the end of my time with EST. Look, you take a little, you give and you get. Would I like to see you go from EST? No. Would I think you'd be great for the league? Sure. I think Matthew Iwanek as well. You can't sleep on him. The guy runs a very successful 4-man CFL fantasy league. And a fantasy type of style that Randy Ambrosie has never been able to get off the ground. So maybe we install Matthew Iwanek into that position in order to get that season-long fantasy that we've been all crying so much about. Not the week-to-week variety, but the season-long. I know Dusty got to corner Randy at the Elks golf tournament earlier in the season. We did pose him with the question. He sweated a bit. If he was drafting today, that would be his number one fear, is being questioned about a season-long fantasy league. But maybe that. Ambrosie was both, and he was a former player, kind of in the business realm as well, president of AGF Funds for a while, Pinto Creek. Yeah, I mean, you can do both, obviously. But I just guess, what would you lean towards more? Somebody who's on maybe the younger, less removed from the game side? I mean, Randy didn't play as of late. He played in days of yore, but yeah. Have your say. If you have any names as well, I know the CEBL has a certain individual that might look good in that position. Maybe that's an option. But yeah, 780-218-9999. Somebody says a corporate guy with Atlantic connections in order to lock down that 10th franchise. Maybe that's something that hot take Kev. Thanks for your suggestion. Sorry, Trev.
He was appointed to the position 2017. So not even that long, eh? So it was
Randy?
Just,
yeah. Well, and he also steered it through the pandemic, which was some very choppy waters for a league that doesn't rely on billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So I think when we look back on his tenure, yes, it could be discussed in a variety of ways, but CFL's still clicking and still going on, much to the chagrin of a lot of people out there. So you got to love to see it. Question number 2 in 3 questions too many. On a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you about the commissioner's pick in today's draft? You're familiar with this wrinkle as well, Trev. We have our categories that Dustin's probably sent you that he'll be feeding you through the earpiece that you'll be wearing during the draft. Quinn's also going to spring on us a pick that we don't know of yet. It's a wild card. It's a blank space. How nervous am I? Probably a 5. I mean, anytime you don't know and can't prep for a topic. Having said that, though, I think this draft, there's no open category in this draft. So in that thinking, like, there's a lot of stuff that could be left off the board here. So I'm sure. I asked her last night for a hint, and she said no. You don't know unless you ask, right? And then she said it's going to be a little personal. I think that was kind of the hint that she did give unknowingly to her, but like, she's going to draft what we're scared of? Like, that's the whole point of the draft. So I really don't know where she's going here. I'm not really nervous, but probably a 5 just on the fact that we don't know what it is, and that's automatic.
Well, I came in here today not knowing I was drafting at all, so it hasn't really changed for me.
No, should
so,
yeah, you're stuck at a 10.
Yeah, I mean, just add it to the list. I still haven't quite looked at Dusty's what he's prepped for me. So, and I'm probably just going to reference that and be like,
As we said, though, this isn't
scary.
a draft where you've had to watch Saturday Night Live or be a fan. This is just real life.
Yeah.
You can go, you can riff.
I am happy and thankful for that because you can just base it off life experiences. And I've got that. And I've had, as we know, last week talked about 2012, scariest year of my life.
You're right on it.
Yeah,
You're right
so
on
I'll
top.
be good. I'll be good.
Yeah, no, and especially with this whole Dustin Nielson bump of you finishing 1-0, I think you've got a lot. It might be on merit, but it might also be fascinating storylines heading into the EST draft of scary things. Question number 3, and I do see Jason Graham in the nasty chat. Pinball Clemens. That'd be interesting. I'd have time to explore that in terms of a commission role for the CFL. He's done some great work, I think, in Toronto, a very tough market.
That's my father.
Oh, I thought you were saying Pinball Clemens. I was like, what? You've kept that from me all this time? You're Pinball's boy? Jason, okay, your father, very astute. Man, you had me there.
Yeah.
You guys both had big smiles. I was like, well, maybe. I don't know. Wow. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
The father.
Yeah.
Jason Graham, the father.
Not quite as good as
and one of those little commissioners that can operate a league. Yeah, Amishman19 says the one thing YTD knows its fears. Yeah, you should.
I was
be
born
just,
for this.
You should be just fine. Question 3: Who or what has been the strength of the Oilers so far this season? Of course, they are at 500, 4-4-1, looking to get above that mark tonight in Columbus. YouTube Trev, who or what? Always interesting with the what has been the strength of this team overall to this point.
Well, physical strength, I'd have to go with Corey Perry because
the toughness. We talked about the fighting. Whenever this team needs a boost, Stetcher, Perry, Nurse.
Yeah, and then maybe I'd go just with the depth. And I know it's like we haven't started to see scoring. Like we haven't seen, the offense really come a heck of a whole lot. It is now, which is nice, but like I'd say the depth and just the options. Like in years prior, they were, struggling it was Dominic Cahoon with Leon Draisaitl and Yamamoto, right? And that was like 4 years ago. So you got Victor Arvidsson, you got Podkolzin, that's not working. Well, let's see what Jeff Skinner and Connor Brown could do maybe. Let's put Leon. So it's just I'd say the options that they have, they're you look at the offense and you compare it to any offense in the NHL and it's above everyone by quite a bit or, pretty close to being above everyone. And it's because of the players like, Adam Henrique and Connor Brown and, they're just good depth players that haven't even really showed up that much, but they're still, they're 500 team or 4-4-1 right now. But I'd say
it's
just
going to
the
come.
options.
The potential is there for them.
Yeah. And I'd say, yeah, so that would probably be my answer. Just the depth, the options that they could switch it up. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's not fun. They shouldn't be switching it up. Well, I mean, that's not the case, unfortunately. But, they do have the options too. And that's what they're doing right now because nothing seems to be working, or at least a week ago, that was the case.
Yeah, and I mean, I like the toughness angle of it all. I mean, it is young, so it's you can kind of... I mean, you can kind of go in a variety of directions, but the fighting, I mean, they're not taking fighting out of hockey. Gotta love it. And,
nice.
And I think, again, if that's the smelling salt that this team needs to wake up every once in a while, stick with what got you there. And if that's what it's going to do, they certainly have enough guys that can drop them. So maybe it's just as simple as that. No Pinball Clemens as commissioner after the way he handled the Chad Kelly situation one-eyed Pete. Astute comment there, and I would agree with you there. And that would be when you go in for the interview, that would be one thing. And I followed up with the John Murphy situation as well, to which one I Pete agreed. So not a glowing 100% for Pinball Clemens, but again, he's the guy with the big smile. We all know him well. Great ambassador for the league, but certainly the way he's handled a few situations in TO. have led to being questioned. Sask Bill says, being commissioned CFL is a really tough gig. I'm a fan of the league. I want to see it thrive, but truthfully, it's an uphill battle. Look at the seats. Oh, boy. How the hell can that be fixed? Personally, I got no clue. So, yeah. Well, I mean, again, he's working for the Board of Governors. I think what we've seen, 2 Alberta teams not make the playoffs. I think that's the first time ever. The Rough Riders game over the weekend didn't mean anything given the fact that the Bombers won by the hand of God or the breath of God or whatever you want. Never in doubt for the Bombers. Never in doubt for Sergio Castillo. Just want to say that. But a nothing game for the Riders as it was. Look, I think life is tough out there. I get it. But you can't be telling me that you're selling out hockey games and going, we all bitch about the prices down at Rogers, and they can do and operate their business however they want. But I think as a commission, the CFL, you're working for the Board of Governors. And right now, I think you're seeing some great stuff out in BC. That's the thing with the CFL. It's a 9-team league. In the NFL, you can hide half the league under a blanket and say, oh, we don't care about that. That's fine. Look at this good stuff. In the CFL, it's always something. If it's the Prairie team struggling, it's the Coastal team not struggling. If it's them not struggling, it's vice versa. So somebody's got to lose in a 9-team league. You can't all win. This season's been full of parity. It's been fun to watch. But sure, sometimes teams will be on the up, organizations, and sometimes other organizations will be on the downswing. It's just how it is. And again, with life going on and the expenses of things, that also plays a part. So, yeah, it's a tough gig. I think commissioning any pro league is a tough gig, especially one where you're not flush with cash and flush with a lot of advertising and a lot of, this is another thing that the new commission will have to navigate through. Upcoming TV contracts, all those things. I've said before, managing a CFL team is probably the toughest gig in pro sports, and probably commissioning the league as itself is probably the toughest commissioning gig in all of sports, given the fact you're not Scrooge McDucking on a big pile of coin. It's just simple as that. It's a league that hasn't grown into and been flush with the cash that all the others have had. But that's why I like it. It's Canadian. It's ours. And if you want to do away with movie awards in Canada and music awards in Canada and everything else that we celebrate in being uniquely Canadian, then do away with the CFL too. I don't give a damn. But once it's gone, it's gone. And then the Geminis and all that other stuff, it ain't coming back. So just leave it at that. Tough gig. I get it. But that's the job, and somebody's got to do it. 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox. That hurts right now. Maybe we get on to that in the season it was for the Elks. Look, it hurts me as a Riders fan. I'm watching. Saturday was great. The regular season came right down to the damn wire, or as close to it as it could have been, with that Game 2 not having any really say in playoff positioning. But the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, God! And I know Dean Belanger is sitting on his big throne and cackling like a crow. A tough game. Montreal play a lot of their starters, rest a few. Davis Alexander, as advertised, this guy's going to be a stud. He is a gamer at quarterback for the Elks. They got to move mountains to keep him on board, I think, as well during the offseason. But a tight game. The Bombers needed this one to get first in the West. Of course, if they win, the game between the Riders and Stamps means absolutely nothing afterwards. They would go on to win, albeit not really convincing. And in Montreal, we said too, I knew they'd be fired up. Jason Moss isn't going into the playoffs, and especially a bye, losing 2 in a row. That's just not how you do it in football. You want to be performing. You want to be playing to win the game, as Herm Edwards says. So it was a tough battle. One to which, though, I thought Bombers probably should have had that emotional advantage of saying, hey, the West is in our hands. We need to go out and grab it. They left some points on the board. Castillo missing a couple field goals, albeit the one late, fairly long. But it was a tight game, a contested affair, and I think that speaks to the parity around the league this season. And if that was a potential Grey Cup matchup, I'll take another one of those, please. But for Montreal to have the ball in their end and to punt it away with, 30 seconds left on the clock, and all of a sudden, Marshall Ferguson and Dwayne Ford on the play-by-play. Oh, a gust, a storm, a snow, sleet, rain, wind. Everything but the damn kitchen sink gets blown into McGill Stadium. And now this gale-forced wind is against the Alouettes punter, Matos. He shanks one 30 yards, gifting the Bombers. Again, Sergio Castillo missed a 61-yarder, I want to say. It was a far one. He's got a great leg, but that was always going to be tough to make. Maybe the Bombers should have went for it on 3rd and 10. Who knows? Gifting the Bombers another chance. Another chance. They take it. They don't let that go. So this windstorm picks up. It prevents the Alouettes from punting and perhaps pinning them deep. They have to execute it, I get it. But a 30-yard shank punt against a gale force wind, giving the Blue Bombers, and now we got to hear the hand of God, the breath of God, the breath of Jesus, the breath of any sort of religious denomination, you pick it. It's the Bombers' season now. They've got this little bump, and now they get the week off. They get the West final at their place, which, again, you want to talk about diminishing attendance and everything else. Ain't happening in Winnipeg. They get to host the West final, get a bye week. Game 2, Riders at home to the Stamps. Riders probably think now they're playing for the West, given the fact that the Alouettes have this thing sewn up with 30 seconds left. Team releases another depth chart updated, most of their starters on the bench, and then you go into this one psychologically kind of pinned. And the Stamps, credit to them, getting their first road win of the season. A disastrous season for them, not winning, not making the playoffs. But a nothing game for the Riders in the end. One that you just hope from a Rider point of view that nobody got hurt. So now the Riders will host BC Saturday from Mosaic, a BC Lions team that observed a bye. They're coming off a bye their own, and we'll see how it goes. But I think that hurts, and I'm not saying this from a Homer point of view because I know nobody around here likes Homerism. But it hurts when you're watching, and a team has got the other team on the ropes with 30 seconds left, and a windstorm blows in just for that 10 to 15 seconds. I was going to say, and it's much like YTT here in the upcoming draft, if you win on merit, if the Bombers went out there and stomped the Owls or won the game outright, fair play. Fair play. It shouldn't really come down to this. I was told the Bombers locked up the division weeks and months ago. But a windstorm? It's another chapter in the rich fabric and tapestry of the Canadian Football League. You can have your fog bowls, your 13th mans, all this other stuff. This wind game or wind play, pretty much, will go down in history, whether you like it or not. And I love it now because it's come and it's gone, but I just wish the Bombers would have won more on a merit style than needing the win to give Sergio Castillo another chance and the team another chance to get the win. I am going off long-winded here. It's 8:30. We're going to get back to regularly scheduled programming. The Oilers are playing a hockey game tonight. They played one last night as well. We'll break that down, set one up tonight. Also get Ryan and Rishaug's thoughts from TSN and the Got Your Back pod on the Elks season, albeit briefly. We'll give him to do a post-mortem, his chance to kind of discuss the season it was, set up a very, very interesting and crucial offseason for this franchise moving forward. It's Lieutenant Eric. It's YouTube Trev. Dustin Nielsen away sick today. It's the Nielson Show presented by Southport Chevrolet. Trev's got an update for Sit and Sleep. We'll be back with Ryan Rishaug and the wrap for William Huff all on the way here on the Nielsen Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Leon Draisaitl celebrating his 29th birthday with 2 goals and an assist as the Oilers win on the road in overtime 3-2 against the Red Wings. Draisaitl also potting the overtime winner as the Oilers improve to 4-4-1 on the season. The club is in Columbus tonight to take on the Blue Jackets as Oilers and Blue Jackets are one of 8 games around the NHL this fine evening. Tom Gazzola has your GCL Diesel pre- and post-game shows live from Boston Pizza Westgate. Coverage starts at 4 o'clock. In the NFL, Brock Purdy tossed a touchdown and ran in another as the 49ers beat the Cowboys 30-24 on the Sunday Nighter. Week 8 wraps up tonight when the Giants visit the Steelers. You can join Lieutenant Eric for this one at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Loaded burgers on special and tall boys of 6 o'clock or lager courtesy of Alley Cap Brewing. Switching to the majors, Shohei Ohtani has been cleared to play as Game 3 of the World Series continues tonight from New York between the Yankees and Dodgers. LA is holding a 2-0 series lead. Ohtani suffered a shoulder injury late into the Dodgers win on Saturday night. First pitch for this one at 6:08 from Yankee Stadium. And 11 games in the association tonight, including the Raptors at home to the Nuggets. You can watch this one today at 5:30. The wait is over. Sit and Sleep is now open. Celebrate with 20,000 square feet of savings on the trendiest furniture, home decor, and mattresses. Apply for your Sit and Sleep card today to make no payment for 18 months interest-free and be entered to win your purchase up to $5,000 on furniture and home decor next to Planet Fitness in South Edmonton Common. Let's go.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
$8:35. It is time on the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric and no Dustin Nielson. Empty chair today. Should have put a little bit of a candle or something to dress it up. Dustin's been taken ill, and he doesn't get ill when he's ill. He's usually in battling through it or whatever. But road warrior for the CFL this season, and he is not feeling it. We got the call. We got the text early this morning. It's Lieutenant Eric. It's YouTube Trev. YouTube Trev will also be taking his place in the EST draft of Scary Things, which will be coming up 9 to 11 here on Edmonton Sports Talk. But as promised, a lot of Oilers talk to get to here, with a sprinkle of some Elks talk as well. We'll give our next guest a chance at his postmortem on the CFL season that wrapped up over the weekend, regular season, I guess we can say, and that's Ryan Rishaug from TSN and the Got Your Back pod. He joins us this morning. Ryan, welcome back to the program. Just you v me today. Well, not even me. It's more of a conversation, I guess. But hope you're doing well, man, and staying healthy.
Thanks, buddy.
Just want to start as well. We'll get into the Oilers. That'll take the breadth of this conversation. But the Elks wrapping up their season on a punt rouge, which I really love, boiling the piss of everybody down south. But your thoughts on the season it was, where this organization is now going from here. We're waiting still on a president to be announced. They'll have their media available today. Justin Rankin signed over the weekend, one piece of that running back situation. But just your quick thoughts on the season and where they're going from here and what level of hope you're currently kind of standing at.
Yeah, there's a lot wrapped up in all of that. I loved your diatribe, by the way, before the break. I love it. Dusty's away, and Lieutenant Eric will just play, man. That was awesome.
I got it.
I love the passion, man. You just like flowing out of you.
Somebody's got to get it out. I got to get it out myself, right? Unless you can't keep it in. That's bad for the health.
I know. It is bad for the health. You have to sweat that stuff out, and glad we were able to do that with you. Yeah, I mean, a debrief on the season. I'll kind of go like the 5,000-foot view, right, instead of the 500-foot view. Here's the thing. The Elks were looking to reconnect with their fan base, and I thought they did a decent job of that with some changes that they made heading into last season, and this new shiny quarterback that was so exciting for everybody to get to watch. Remember, people were excited and buying tickets, and we were talking about it on the shows all the time, and it was like, wow, okay, reconnecting with the fan base again, and something, an exciting person to buy a ticket and go watch. And then in the offseason, they went and hired someone else to do his job. And I never really understood why that was allowed to happen from an organizational standpoint, why that player wasn't circled and it wasn't made very clear that, all right, whatever happens this year, it's going to happen on the back of this really exciting player that our fan base loves. And so Trey Ford comes in and, he wasn't the story this year. He wasn't given an opportunity to develop into whatever he's going to be in this league. And so now the season is come and gone. And I mean, what a finish for Trey Ford, by the way, who I believe doesn't have a deal for next year.
Yeah.
So what a finish for him. So he goes out on that note, showing the rest of the league what he's capable of and what he's ready to do. And you've got a team that had him the opportunity to invest in him and didn't. And now I don't know if he's going to be back or not. I don't know what it's going to look like. But the fan base loved him. Looked like everything was lining up for this to be a year where that bond sunk in between the team and this potentially franchise player. And they made the decision to go away from that. So I have never understood why that was allowed to happen and why that happened. So now I don't know what it looks like moving forward, but the most exciting player that they have may or may not be back next season. This year, they never really figured out precisely what he was.
Yeah.
So what do you give him in a contract? You needed to take this year to figure out exactly what he was, to forge that bond with him, to send him the signal once and for all. Chris Jones is gone. You are going to be relied upon. And they had some time to do that. And it wasn't done. So I've never understood that, Eric. And I think fundamentally it's a big problem. And I don't think it was handled properly.
And I think too, now moving forward, you need to get your ducks in line, and that comes with the president. I think part of that MBT acquisition was such that Chris Jones needed to win yesterday, and him feeling the heat. As we see with football coaches, very conservative. They'll go to the conservative. They'll go to the old guy or the old, he's been around. He's got the prior resume or whatever it is. And their hesitancy to go with a young guy, because I think Jarius Jackson in an interim position, I mean, yeah, you could make an argument you could go more for a young guy. And I just, especially with an organization, you're seeing it with Washington and the Commanders, you can change your name and people will squawk and crow all about that as much as they want. Winning heals everything. And they're doing it right now with a young, exciting quarterback. And I just feel like that blueprint could have been done here too, if it wasn't for the fact that Jones felt like he needed to win yesterday and went, as most football coaches do, in a conservative fashion without exploring, as you mentioned, you don't even know what you have now in order to extend a deal or extend a hand to Trey Ford.
Yeah, well, they've seen signs of it. I mean, based on his performance here this week, you're like, all right, back up the truck, do what you got to do. He can do it. Yeah. But then there were some ups and downs. The problem was he needed a season to work his way through it. So you've got a coach, a GM, who, maybe his sense of urgency is on a little bit of a different path than, what's best for the organization over the next 4 or 5 years, because figuring out Trey Ford, integrating him exactly into this organization in the exact place that he needed to be based on his performance, you needed to figure those things out. And that's a problem, right? It's like Philip Broberg with the Oilers. Like, they never really figured out exactly what they had with this player because they could never really get themselves committed enough to a development path for him, whether that was in the American League or in the NHL. They screwed around.
Yeah.
And then somebody else came along and went, we know what you got, and we know you can't afford him. And now he's played extremely well. I don't know. We'll see how he does by the end of the year. But the point is you cannot take important, young, exciting pieces that bring people into the stadium and mess around. And that's exactly what they did here. And this is nothing against MBT. Like, he is a professional. He helped that locker room. He taught other guys how to be pros. They told me that. I sat and interviewed players who were like, McLeod Bethel Thompson taught me how to be a better player, a better person, and a better pro. So this is nothing against him.
No.
Trey Ford needed support, not somebody that made a crap ton of money that came in and took his job. And that's who McLeod Bethel Thompson, that's what he was brought in to do. So they needed to get a veteran quarterback in there to support him. Instead, they had a guy that came in and, look, he just did his thing, man. Good, respectable veteran quarterback. It's not his fault. I just never understood it.
Let's sashay then into the Oilers. You mentioned Broberg. We won't discuss anything on him or any of those ex-Oilers that seem to be, finding somewhat success on other teams. But this Oilers team finding success over the weekend, Ryan, and we were talking earlier, let's go back to Friday at home to Pittsburgh, and you do kind of get a sense of, and I mean, chalk the Penguins up to whatever you will, but every game's hard and every team's a pro team. And I just thought 4-0, a shutout, Stuart Skinner's performance. He was getting a little unfairly treated after that Carolina game, I personally thought, by some of the fan base. But 4-0, you unload the pepper shaker of shots on the Penguins. Tidy home win there. Then you head out on the road, a weird one on an NFL Sunday, 4 o'clock-ish, but you go down twice, first shot of the game. But then the big dogs, Draisaitl, birthday boy, getting it done in overtime. Do you kind of feel like Friday is one of those games, albeit young in the season, but they have hit the 500 mark, that we maybe look back on and say, hey, this was the time where now they're having fun again and they're playing closer to an Oilers team that we're more familiar with than not?
Yeah, I mean, certainly if they turn this around, they're in a position to, you roll into Columbus today and you don't look back. Right? Potentially. That should be a game that they can have, and you pick up your third straight win, and now you're not looking back, right? If this is the turnaround point, you can definitely, look to this weekend. The Penguins were hot garbage.
Yeah.
Awful. Like, on our pod post game, I couldn't even get Struds or Brownie to talk about the Oilers because they just wanted to go on and on and on about how bad the Penguins were, how awful they played. So that one was gift wrap for the Oilers, and kudos to them for, busting that gift open and heading, heading home with a couple of points. You still got to do it, and they did. I think yesterday was maybe a little bit more meaningful because they came out and they were terrible in the first period. Had an awful first period. I don't know how that happened, but it did. Calvin Pickard was excellent for them. And I think their goaltending is starting to solidify a little bit here. And they end up picking up a come from behind win. And I think, the couple of the big guys get going, like Leon Draisaitl definitely got going. Real good night on his birthday. So I think back-to-back wins, the second of which being come from behind on the road. in the fashion they did it. Corey Perry with the scrap. Like they're starting to show some signs. And I think what they're their last 6, I think 4-1-1 maybe in their last 6. They're starting to show some signs of their game rounding into form. Still lots of problems, but back-to-back wins and a come from behind, I think that can be meaningful for them for sure.
Yeah, and I think, too, detecting a lot of snarl in the game and such that you mentioned Corey Perry dropping the mitts. We've seen it with Troy Stetcher before and igniting this team and Darnell Nurse. I mean...
Yeah, I'll cut you off there, Eric. You said a lot of snarl. I will say a snarl.
A snarl in those moments.
A snarl. Yeah. One instance with a snarl. It was Corey Perry, and good for him. But let's not mistake this Oiler team for a team that has any sort of... No. In fact...
Defined with their talent, sure, but...
Yeah, we were beating this around on the show last night. You can ask your listeners if they care. The Oilers are dead last in the league in hits per 60. They're at under 14 hits per 60, and that's dead last by a bunch. Florida Panthers are first at 29. Last year, they were like 22 and change hits per 60. So their physical game has completely dropped off. I think people know me well enough to know I think that's a mistake, not to have a higher expectation of being more physical more regularly. I know they're not built that way.
Yeah,
but others say, hey, it's not a big deal.
It's a physical game. And I do think, though, that stat can be skewed at certain rinks on certain nights, though.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, you're 9 games in. You can probably aggregate it out and think, okay, it's reasonably accurate. And by the way, just watch the games, and you'll see how little the Oilers hit.
Oh yeah, and I'm not by any part saying that's their DNA, but it does seem like whenever the mitts are dropped in those certain situations, it is the smelling salt to then wake up the talent on the team or get them going. Yeah,
4 wins in games they got the scraps, I think.
You mentioned still though too that there are, and this is one of them, the physicality in an overall view. But you mentioned there are still a myriad of issues plaguing this team. I don't know if you want to dive into any of that, special teams, but what are you seeing? Again, it was a great weekend, and we're gushing over this now, 2 wins, and you mentioned 4 in the 6. A tough game against an emotionally charged Columbus team tonight as well, but what's the main thing that's still sticking out for you kind of in a negative way in the game, if it is as simple as the physicality that you mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that it's their biggest problem. It's a thing that I feel is important. And I mean, I was asking Chris Knobloch about it all last playoffs. I just get the sense it's not something that he's okay with the team checking, quote unquote, with their sticks, right? He just wants to be hard on pucks and check with sticks and all that. I prefer a team that, because to me, if you come out in a game like last night and you're you don't have it, you're fumbling pucks and you're struggling, I like a team that can say, okay, get down to work and just start throwing checks and going to the body. I think it's an easy way to gain momentum back in games. And I think, games 1 through 3 of the Stanley Cup final last year, when things aren't going well, if you can revert to that game, I think it's an important quality to have. I don't think it's the biggest thing that they have going on right now. Not even close. It's just something I'm noticing about this team. So the game is somewhat on the line last night. It's a tie game, and the Oilers have a power play to close out regulation. And they pull 2/5 of the top unit off the ice before the power play is done. So we see Arvidsson and Skinner go over the boards, and Hyman and Nugent Hopkins change. That right there is an indication that they're starting to get serious about the power play needing to be adjusted here, because that would have been a perfect opportunity to just let the big guys go the full 2 minutes. Of course, game on the line. Nope, they changed them. They changed them fairly early. So I'd say on the list of things that they need to get sorted out, special teams is right near the very top. I would put the penalty kill slightly ahead of the power play in terms of sense of urgency, but they're pretty close.
Another thing, too, and getting that third getting that tying goal in the third, I thought Knobloch was riding his big dogs quite a bit. And it's funny that you mentioned the power play there, but riding the big guys a lot during that third, I think he could sense kind of the blood in the water type of feeling. What have you made of Knobloch and the staff as a whole just through this first early part of the season? It's had its ups, it's had its downs, but how do you think Knobloch and co have kind of handled everything up until last night?
Yeah, so... I mean, things were pretty rosy for Chris last year. I mean, he came in and that team was steaming angry and ready to turn it around. And they turned it around. And I'm not saying he doesn't get credit for that. Like, he came in and did a really good job. And one thing we consistently said about Knobloch last season, LT, was that whenever he tweaked things in his lineup, it just seemed to work. He kind of seemed to have this innate sense for what was needed, like moment to moment or game to game. I would say in the early going this year, that wasn't the case. We have not seen that. Now, is that because he's not pushing the right buttons, or is it because the players just aren't playing well enough? Probably a little bit of both. I think he was